All right. All right, we live. We live. What's up? What's up, everyone? What's good? Beverly, you here?
Yep,
All right,
right
good.
here.
Good.
Cool.
We live. We live. So
Cool.
just want to go ahead and do a quick introduction myself. You guys know me as He Knows His Sport. I'm bringing you guys that heat and that fire. You know, I have the lovely Beverly Rose. So go ahead and introduce yourself, sis.
Well, oh, how should I start? I'm not even really good at these, but I started doing this like a year ago. My main thing is just breaking down and analyzing fights from the past,
Hmm.
up until now. I wouldn't say, I'm professional or anything because I'm still learning,
Back
but
in action.
yeah, I'm just I would say I'm kind of like a casual fan. I'm learning as I go. I started training in MMA first, then I got interested in boxing.
Oh,
So
cool.
here I am.
Wow.
Just make it
Okay.
short and simple, I guess.
Okay. All right. Well,
That's
everyone knows
cool.
the
I didn't know that you competed.
Oh no,
I,
I didn't compete. I was just training.
just doing some training. Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I've always been interested in combat and military stuff, so thought I'd just start training.
That's really weird because that would throw somebody off because you look like such a nice, sweet, you know what I mean? This should just bust
Right,
you up real quick, like boop, boop, boop,
right, right.
But I'm gonna tell you right now,
Hey,
D. I'm gonna tell you right now, man. You know, you see Amanda Nunez, man. I
Can you
mean,
hear
when she's
him?
walking, you see Amanda Nunez
You
when
can
she's
hear he
walking around.
knows?
You
yeah,
can
I
hear
can
me?
hear him.
All right, you can hear me,
I
D.
can't hear him.
All right. Well, let me do
That's
this real
weird.
quick.
I
Let me
know.
do this real
I
quick,
think it's
man.
my system because
All right. So I'm gonna get them back in, but yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of times folks underestimate, you know, someone by the way that they look, and they think they can't play, they can't be in a certain sport or anything like that. But
Right,
I don't know,
exactly.
like I don't take nothing away from nobody, and I don't estimate anyone. You know what I'm saying? I look at everyone as, if this is what you tell me you do, then that's what you do. I'm gonna hold you
Yeah.
at face value, unless you prove me otherwise. I'm gonna hold you at face value. That's the way I look at it.
Sometimes it's good to catch them at surprise, though.
Exactly. Exactly.
You
So
never know.
let's get on to this first topic here. I want to talk about the big fight, the Devin Haney versus the Antonio Moran fight. D, what's your take on that fight, man, with the zone? Do you hear?
Can you hear him?
I don't know, man.
You can't hear him?
Nah, I can't hear him. D, you on that? Are you on the OBS system?
Hmm.
It's probably mine. I don't know. Y'all probably can hear me. I can't hear neither of you guys
I can
now.
hear you. Like, yeah, I can
I
hear
can
Just
hear
you.
you.
try.
I can
I
hear
would
you.
just say this: if y'all can hear me, just try me one.
All right. All right. So while he's trying to figure it out, sis, what's your take on that fight between Devin Haney and Antonio Moran? What's your take on it?
I actually, like I was telling you a bit earlier, I called that fight exactly how it went on
Mhm.
my on one of my live streams. I love Devin Haney's power. I love his fundamentals. He's very very well rounded for his age too. He's got some power to him. I think he's still got some growing to do. He doesn't even have his what we call grown man strength yet.
Mhm.
So the fact that he knocked him out like that, he broke him down systematically for sure. And then finished him off with that was it overhand right? But yeah, actually, I predicted the fight to go 6 or 7 rounds knockout, and I was impressed for sure. He's got a great future in boxing. I think he should stay with Mayweather Senior. It's working wonders for him.
I agree with that. D, you here with us, man?
Yeah, man, I just answered it on my phone. I don't have the speed. I can hear y'all everything works perfectly on my phone. So I'm
You kind of sound distant. You kind of sound distant, man.
You got some
really.
earphones, maybe?
Do you have some earphones? Pop, throw some earphones on so we can hear you.
What about now?
There you
Yeah,
go.
I can hear you. There you go.
Yeah,
There
there
you
we
go.
go.
Go ahead and ride with it, man. What's your take on the Devin Haney Antonio Moran fight, man?
Well, I don't know, bro. Me and you called that pretty much perfectly. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? We called it pretty much how it was gonna happen. So, Devin Haney, I will say this though. I do have to say this because you know I'm a Teofimo Lopez fan, and
Mm-hmm.
I actually had those guys ranked. Shakur Stevenson. I think we all agreed that Shakur was number one at the time, and
Mm-hmm.
then I had Teofimo, and then I had Devin Haney. And my knock on Devin Haney was that I always thought that he was a great boxer. I always thought that he was, right up there, even better. So pure boxer than Teofimo. My knock on him was I thought he lacked power. But last
Mm-hmm.
night, he showed me something different. He showed me that he has the power. And, I see him differently now. I still think that I still have Shakur slightly ahead of those guys. But I think it's like Shakur and Devin Haney closed the gap as far as I'm concerned, looking at him as concerning these prospects. I mean, he's
Mm.
right there with
Mm-hmm.
Shakur and Teofimo. I mean, I put Teofimo higher than he knows, and I guess some other people. I just see something in him that I don't believe others see. But I used to think that he was better than Devin Haney, but I can't
Mm-hmm.
say that. I can't say that anymore. I have to put, I at least have to put Devin right there with him. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm glad you made that quick retraction, man. I'm glad you did that because I've said it in the out of the top 5 contenders that we're looking at because these guys, man, they're going to take over boxing. Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, and Virgil Ortiz. These guys
Yeah.
they're gonna run this thing. They're gonna run this block. And folks need to understand that out of the top two, the guys that I've always had, they're either one or two and they're interchangeable. But for the most part, I kind of give him the slight one is between Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney. But I'm not gonna lie. After last night's performance, I kind of edged Devin Haney slightly above Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson has a fight on July. He's gonna have to show up and show out, and he's gonna have to win in emphatic fashion for me to put him right back at number one. But Devin Haney, like Sis said, he's getting that tutelage from Floyd Mayweather Sr. And Floyd Mayweather Sr. has that term that he always uses. A jab will beat all of their asses. And that's true.
Right.
If you look at Devin Haney, he's established everything with the jab. It's not like he just went in there and he was trying to knock the dude's head off like Jamel Charlo was trying to do with, Tony Harrison. He went in there with a game plan and he stuck to his principles. Now, there is
Mm-hmm.
one thing, although that win is impressive, that is a glaring deficiency or issue for me with the Devin Haney cap. And it's his dad. I feel like his dad is his biggest support and his dad is his biggest strength. But I'm starting to see some of the same things that I saw with Teofimo's dad in his behavior. Because if you notice, not this fight, but the fight prior to that, his dad kind of shunned Floyd Mayweather Sr. in a sense. He kind of wanted to take over the
Hmm.
show and and kind of just shut up Floyd Mayweather Sr. and make it about him. If that's going to be the continual case, then I think that's going to hurt Devin Haney in the long run. But right now, with the win and the victory that he had against Antonio Moran, I just think that Devin Haney was leagues and shoulders above that guy. So I think that's why all three of us, we called that to the T because we saw that, Devin Haney, not only he has stamina for days, not only does he have boxing ability, but the question was, in a step-up fight, was he going to show that he had power? Because we know Teofimo has power. But we didn't know that about Devin Haney, and we don't know that about Shakur Stevenson just yet. You know what I'm saying? We needed to know from them if they were going to show us power continuously like Teofimo has. Devin Haney has answered that bell for me. He's more than answered it. And right now, I feel that he is the top guy in that young crop. I don't think a fight between Lomachenko, I'm not going to get hyped up and say a fight between him and Loma is there just yet because I need to see more from Devin Haney because I respect Loma that much. But I feel that I feel like Devin Haney needs to give me one more fight in that emphatic fashion. If he does that, then I'm down with him fighting Lomachenko. What do you guys got to say? D, I'm gonna let you go. You got any counters to that? It look like D's not there. D, you there? Then I'm down with him fighting Lomachenko. All right.
Well, I don't really have
Oh, there he
I don't
is.
really have a
Okay.
counter.
Uh-huh.
You know, these three guys, if you on your in your community post
Mhm.
yesterday, I put a message and I'll just kind of say it again.
Mhm.
Um, but these three guys, Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez, and Devin Haney. And of course, I know that you don't have Teofimo in there with them,
Mhm.
but I'm just going to put him in there because of what I see in him. I think these three guys have separated themselves from the other prospects. And don't get me
Mhm.
wrong, like Ryan's good, Virgil Ortiz is good, and Romero, these guys are good, but Teofimo, Devin Haney, and Shakur has separated themselves from these guys. And they all have their own special ability that
Mhm.
separates them from the rest, if you understand what I'm saying. Shakur Stevenson is definitely a pure boxer, bro. And then when you look at who he's learning from, just like you said so many times, Crawford and Ward, and you know what I mean, and the leaps and bounds that Shakur takes after every fight, you know what I mean? It's like Devin Haney just showed us a lot, but in Shakur's next fight, I don't think that we can't see something that'll put him right back over the top. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how
Mhm.
Shakur is.
Yep.
Teofimo has recognition that you don't understand yet, and you will.
Mhm.
This is where you and I, we go sideways with Teofimo, but he has
Mhm.
a recognition that is second to none. These guys, these other young guys, I'm telling you now, bro, from my film study, they don't put things together as quickly as Teofimo does, and that's why he's so special. And then
Mhm.
when you add that power, to that skill that he has of the fighter tendencies, their recognitions, when he used those feints and those paw and jabs, he recognized what they're going to do and how they're going to react extremely quick. I
Mhm.
mean, sometimes, bro, it's like within the first 40 seconds of the fight. But
Mhm.
you'll figure that out when you do the film study on him. And
Mhm.
so these three guys are like what we said the other day about AJ Wilder and Fury. They're leagues above the rest. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I just think that of course Devin Haney, man, he really impressed me in that fight, bro. If anybody says, "Oh, he's better than Teofimo," I can't argue with that. Of course,
Mhm.
I'm gonna, still hold my ground with Teofimo. But if somebody says that he's better than Teofimo, I'm not gonna really put up a big, huge debate about any of these three guys, Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo, or Devin Haney, because I feel like that these guys are leading the charge. These guys are gonna be the face of boxing. These three young boys are the future of boxing. I mean, you're talking about the age range of 20 to 23 years old, bro. They're the next thing right here. These guys are special, all three of them.
You got anything you want to add, sis, before we jump on to the next topic?
Um, I would like to see Devin Haney maybe take on someone like Shakur Stevenson or even, Tank. That would be an interesting matchup for me. But
Mhm.
my main thing is I don't really want them to sit and marinate the way it like Top Rank kind of lets their fighters sit and marinate.
Mhm.
You know, I want to see the best fight the best, and if it kind of goes back to what I was talking about yesterday on my stream. Fury was talking about how Daniel Dubois was fighting another unbeaten prospect. His name can't come to me right now, but
Mhm.
he's basically saying how he wouldn't make that fight if he were the promoter because they're both undefeated prospects. And I feel like that's the complete opposite of what we should be seeing in the sport, you know. So if we can get Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson immediately, then that's only going to prove who's better right now, in my opinion, you know. But other than that, I'm impressed with both fighters. I'm looking forward to Shakur Stevenson's upcoming fight too.
Yep, I agree with you. I mean, I know a lot of folks out there, they get caught up in, they don't want prospects or contenders to fight each other, but my take on it is the same take that you have. The best needs to fight the best.
Mhm.
And bottom line is they Devin Haney ran up on Teofimo Lopez, so they need to settle that spot. Whatever went down on that run up, they need to settle that. And I feel like
Right.
they can have a few more fights. Let's build it up a little bit. But there's gonna come a point where they just need to go ahead and have at it. And I just that's just the way that I see it. And with Shakur Stevenson, I think the biggest thing with him is he just needs to continue to look great in his performances. And Shakur Stevenson needs to do a big thing with me, and which is he needs to grow into his grown man strength. I feel that Devin Haney has shown us his grown man strength in this last fight last night. Teofimo has been showing it to us because of his knockout ability. But Shakur
Mhm.
Stevenson still has not fully shown us it yet. He showed us his skills, he showed us his
Yeah.
determination, but I still feel that he's still kind of growing into his skin, so to speak. That makes
Mhm.
sense.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. The main thing I feel like that's keeping him dominant in fights is probably his jab. He's very good at that jab,
Oh yeah.
keeping his distance and controlling the pace of a fight, breaking down people slowly with that jab. But when he gets like, if he was as strong as Devin Haney, then I'd probably pick him to win over Devin Haney, skill
Mm-hmm.
wise. You know, um, he's definitely, like Dee said, he is a pure boxer, and you don't see that a lot in young men, for
Yep.
sure. This generation of, the new generation of fighters.
So okay, D, I want you to chime in on this first. So based on the performance you guys saw between Michael Hunter and Fabio Maldonado, did you think Michael Hunter was the guy that should have been the step-in guy for Anthony Joshua as opposed to Andy Ruiz?
No way. No way. Let me tell you something. Ruiz will dust Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how I feel about that. Ruiz is a good replacement. It's the best, I believe it's the best he could have found. The
Mm-hmm.
Ortiz, the Luis Ortiz thing didn't work out. Okay, fine. He would have dust Hunter. AJ would have dusted him. And what
Mm-hmm.
I seen, I wasn't impressed at all. And I actually think that Ruiz would beat Hunter up pretty good. So we probably get, in light of Gerald Miller doing what he did and everything else, I think we probably getting the best that we could get with this AJ fight.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go first, and I'm gonna let Sis get on the back end with this one. Here's my take on it. I feel that he's not ready for Andy Ruiz, but I'm not gonna lie, the win was impressive. He got him out of there in 2 rounds. He destroyed him, and I like Michael Hunter's spirit because look who he's calling out. He said, if I can't get the Joshua fight, I want Dillian White. Dillian White is no picnic. So the fact that he's sitting there and he's calling out Dillian White, you know what I'm saying? If he can't get that Anthony Joshua fight, that says a lot to me about this dude's makeup. Now, is he there skill wise to be able to hang with those guys? That's neither here nor there. That remains to be seen. But I'm gonna tell you this much: I I just like guys that are there that's trying to fight the best. You know what I'm saying? The best need to fight the best. I'm not saying going to sit here and say that he's the best, but the fact that he's challenging himself to want to fight a Dillian White, that says a lot to me of what he's made up of. So I just want to continue to watch Michael Hunter. You know what I'm saying? He got a good little record there, and then just continue to see if he can build himself up. I don't like his body set. You guys know how I feel about these chubbier heavyweights. I don't know what it is about them. I'm not taking them away from body set because I know when it comes to boxing, that's not always the key. But I usually prefer a more athletic heavyweight. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. That's my take on it. But I'd like to see Michael Hunter, what I'm saying, cut it up a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? His body because he has a frame that he really could tone it up a little bit. But other than that, sky's the limit for him. He's young. You know what I'm saying? He's 30 years old, and I feel like give him maybe a few more fights. Let's see what he's made up of. I want to see Dillian White stop this whole nonsense about him saying, "Oh, I want to fight, Deontay Wilder. Let me fight Deontay Wilder next." This guy just called you out. Let's see what you made of. Fight Michael Hunter, destroy him, dispatch him, if that's going to be the case, and then let's see what's next for either one of those guys. But I actually enjoyed that. I enjoyed that whole fight card last night because there was a lot of drop it like it hot moments, man. A lot of knockouts.
Yep.
How
Right.
you feel, Spence, about that fight?
Actually, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't watch it, but as soon as you said his name, I just looked up the
Mm-hmm.
highlights of it, and I agree with what you're saying about him. He does look like he can improve his body work. I would not see him faring too well against Joshua.
Mm-hmm.
He squares himself up.
Right.
When he throws a lot of punches, he does kind of square himself up, and he doesn't really bring his hand back to be defensively responsible. But if he were to like tone it up a bit, become more athletic, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, and because he's got good combinations, he throws them pretty at a pretty decent speed. AJ's not the fastest to me, anyways, so he'd probably be able to keep up with him if he were to improve his footwork and maybe drop a few pounds.
Exactly.
But as of right now, no, he would not have been a good replacement for as opposed to Ruiz. Ruiz is probably someone who's more um, I don't even know the records. I don't want to say more experienced, but he's someone who can hang in there with Joshua more. Based on just what I see right now, Ruiz, he throws a lot of combinations, and
Mm-hmm.
if he can cut the ring off well,
Mm-hmm.
then he'll give Joshua some problems. But compared to Michael Hunter, I feel like AJ probably would have hit him with that uppercut way too many times.
I agree.
Hey, Mom.
I agree. So let's fast forward and let's switch it up a little bit. Let's talk about Anthony Joshua since we're already on that, and let's
Right.
talk about Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz. So D, man, what's your take on that fight between Ruiz and Joshua? How you see that fight going?
You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
hear you.
Oh, well, we talked about this a couple of times, but I mean, logically, man, we got to pick AJ to win that fight. Um, Heavyweight boxing is always more of a wild card than any other division because these big guys can hurt another guy that they're not supposed to and get them out of there. So without something to me, basically, luckily like that happening, like Andy Ruiz getting a real clean shot and hurting Joshua and taking him out. I mean, I got to just pick Joshua to win this fight. I think that Ruiz is going to give him some challenges, but Joshua was an excellent boxer. So he's
Mhm.
not one of these heavyweights that's known for one thing. Like he's a boxer, so he can adjust and to any problems that Ruiz may give him, and he'll win that fight. That's pretty much how I see it.
Okay, okay. Sis, what's your take on that fight? How you see Ruiz and Joshua going?
I see. I think like the first maybe 5 rounds. I want to say. Well, I want to go that too far into the fight already, but I'd say the first 2 rounds, AJ's going to be doing a whole lot of lateral movement,
Mm-hmm.
sticking his jab out there, being light on his feet, probably to tire out Ruiz. I don't think he's going to want to fight on the inside with Ruiz though, because Ruiz is going to throw those combinations to the body, come back up top. AJ is always getting caught when he's fighting on the inside, you know.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I can definitely see Ruiz kind of throwing like some hooks to the body and then an overhand right. It's gonna rattle AJ. So I think that the one thing they're probably working on is stamina and, like I said, lateral movement. Later on in the fight, if Ruiz can get some good body blows in the first couple rounds, then AJ's probably going to slow down at around round 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happens, I feel like AJ might be backing himself up into a corner, probably, because he doesn't really have the highest ring IQ, in my opinion. I don't think he'll be able to resort to anything else or really make adjustments. That's the word I'm looking for. I don't think he's going to be able to make adjustments if Ruiz can cut him off efficiently. But the thing I see in Ruiz is that that's going to be his main problem is cutting the ring off. You
Right.
know, I'm
Right.
looking at his other fights with Parker. You know, I thought he beat Parker, but his weakness was kind of cutting the ring off and just chasing someone down. You know, it's one thing to cut the ring off, but it's another thing to just keep trying to walk someone down while you're just swinging kind of wildly. But if he can keep his combinations tight and crisp, keep his hands up, and cut the ring
Right.
off good, then he's probably gonna knock him out in around round 9. But I have
No,
AJ getting a
here,
majority
listen.
decision
This
over
is what you're
her.
gonna have to do.
I mean, over her. I mean, over him,
When
rather.
mommy wake up, you're gonna have
No,
to
we
tell
know
her
what
to
you
do
meant.
for me.
We know what you meant. Hey,
When
but
I
I'm
Yeah.
gonna
have no
say it like
money,
this.
you
Now
need to
that
go
you
to the
said that,
grocery
it's
store,
funny.
and mommy's gonna have to get it done.
I'm gonna say
Okay?
it like this. The
And
Ruiz.
I'm on this live show, so
Do you wanna unmute your
Hey,
mic
you
real
wanna
quick?
unmute your stuff? Yeah, you talking real quick.
no, man. I'm just I'm good. My bad.
Okay.
My baby girl was just interrupting me.
Okay.
Oh,
All
no
right.
problem.
All right. No
No, it's
problem.
fine.
Yeah. So yeah, what I was gonna say is this: Ruiz is tailor made for Anthony Joshua. You know, I feel like Anthony Joshua. I've said this before, and it's funny. He does well against these, heavy set type of fighters. I don't know what it is about these
Mm-hmm.
types of fighters, but Anthony Joshua does well against them, from Charles Martin all the way up until now. I mean, it would have been prior to Andy Ruiz, he would have been dealing with Big Titty Miller. That's who he would have fought, but he didn't end up fighting him. He didn't end up fighting him. It is what it is, because that guy just didn't know how to mask whatever he was taking. Because I guess he got popped up what, 4 times. He
I think
tested
yeah.
positive 4 times. I mean, that's
Mm-hmm.
just
3 or 4
ridiculous. Like
times.
that's your biggest fight. That's the biggest fight of your career, and you're gonna sit there and tell me that you're not gonna mask what you're taking. You're just gonna sit there
Right.
and do whatever. That don't make no sense. I mean, come on. And you getting paid 6.5 million. You got to be ridiculous. That's crazy.
Right.
But I
Yeah.
feel like this: Andy Ruiz, based on what I've seen in my teller to tape, he's that more active fighter. He's kind of like Big Titty Miller in a sense. They both throw a lot of combinations, and not only they both throw a lot of combinations, they both got fast hands. So I think
Right.
that's going to be a problem for Anthony Joshua in dealing with those fast hands of Andy Ruiz. And if I'm Andy Ruiz and I have that come forward style, I'm making the fight ugly. And like you said, Anthony Joshua don't like close quarters. So I'm keeping the fight close, and I'm working that body, and I'm
Right.
throwing those combinations as much as I possibly can up until I start winded. That's what I'm doing against Anthony Joshua. But
Mm-hmm.
on the flip side of it, like you said, Anthony Joshua, not only does he need to do the lateral movement, which I agree wholeheartedly with you on, I think he needs to move his feet in this fight. This is going to be a fight where he can't just sit there and trade blows continuously. I think it's ridiculous if he sits there and just goes back and forth, because I think he can get caught with a shot. There are moments in that fight where Anthony Joshua can get reckless, especially when his conditioning starts to wane. 6 rounds and up, we know that Anthony Joshua has conditioning problems, and
Right. Right.
it's not because of the fact that he has a bad body or an ilky body. It's not because of that.
The
It's because
muscles.
he has a bodybuilding frame. His muscular fibers as a bodybuilder is
Yeah.
not conducive to boxing. That's why he wanes. But I've been looking at some photos of AJ, and I've said this before. When AJ is fighting between the high 220s and the low 230, like between 220 and 230, he's actually at his best conditioning wise. I've been looking at some photos of him, and he looks leaner. He doesn't look
Mm-hmm.
like that big old 240 something Anthony Joshua. So I think if he keeps his weight down, he'll be good for the fight. Plus, the other thing with Anthony Joshua is his mental fortitude. He proved that to me from the Klitschko fight and on, and he proved it more so in the Povetkin fight. Anthony Joshua, when he's in pressurized situations, he rises to the occasion. And that's why we consider him as one of the elite heavyweights. I feel that in this fight, he's going to be tested by Andy Ruiz in moments. And if in those moments that he's being tested, he's going to rise to the occasion and he's going to do the right boxing decision. Because at that heavyweight level, to me, he's the best in terms of boxing fundamentals. So if he sticks to his fundamentals, he should be fine in that fight. And don't go into that fight having that Deontay Wilder mindset. I said that with D yesterday. that mindset of, oh man, I gotta beat him up in emphatic fashion. I gotta get him out of there. That's not Anthony Joshua's character.
Right.
His character is to outbox you, and his character is to do an accumulation of punches to
Right, right.
set
That's
up
more of
his
his
knockout.
style.
Exactly. So if
Now,
he
do
does
you think
that,
him fighting? Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
not just this, you can interject. What you gonna say?
Do you think that him fighting in the U.S. is probably going to affect him mentally too, being that
I
it's
don't
his
think
first time?
so. I don't think so because look at him right now. I mean, he's doing the welcome to America. He's doing the welcome to Miami. You know what I'm saying? He's welcoming himself in a fashion to where he knows the stage that he's operating in, and he knows that this win of this magnitude is going to help his career to excel, and he
Yeah.
Right.
knows that, and it's going to help him to excel in America. So I think Anthony Joshua understands the magnitudes of what's going on, and if there's anybody that understands pressure at the heavyweight level, it's probably him the most because he has the most belts.
Right. I
So
think
I
it's
think
going
he's
to
going to
inspire
succeed.
him.
I think
I
he's
think
going to succeed.
Yeah, I think it's going to inspire him, not mess with him mentally. I think it's more of an inspiration for him to fight in America. Amongst the lights and the fans, and when he went to the first fight, he said he loved the Madison Square Garden atmosphere. So I think this is going to be more of an inspiration for him. I don't think that that's going to bother him mentally.
So
You
you
don't
got
think
anything else
you
you
don't
want to
do
say,
you think
sis?
that there'll be pressure due to the Dominic Brazil fight though? You think
Yes,
everyone in America will be kind of checking to see if he'll stop him? Like you said, he'll probably go in with the Deontay Wilder
yeah,
mentality. You
I do
know.
agree. I do agree with you there because when you listen to AJ and his interviews, and you have these people that put on this persona as if they don't really care what anyone else thinks, but it's actually opposite. He does care about public opinion. And so that's going to be playing on his mind for sure. I mean, Wilder stopped him in one round. And I don't care what all of these Wilder haters say. These guys that's pro AJ and anti Wilder, they're saying that it didn't matter to AJ. I disagree with that because AJ did not knock Brazil out. Say like what we just saw with Devin Haney last night.
Mhm.
Devin Haney beat the guy up, but it was literally that one punch that knocked him out. That was it. AJ didn't do that to Dominic Brazil. He did an accumulation of a beating and then finally got him out.
Right.
He beat him down for 7 rounds and then he finally got him out. Wilder knocked him out with one punch. So yes, that's waning on him. For sure that's waning on him. It's gotta be.
Right. So there's basically it's only two ways he can probably come into this fight. Then it's either he's going to come into the fight with Wilder's fight in mind and be, like you said, inspired, and just
Right.
do play his game, or he's going to go in distracted and with a lot of pressure on his shoulders, trying to outdo Wilder in his own country. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll
Exactly.
see though. We'll see.
And I said this, and I'm gonna just say it one more time. Like Anthony Joshua does not need to fall for the bait. We know that Deontay Wilder, and shout out to YC for saying that because that's the thing with me. When somebody say something, I like to give them credit and I like to regurgitate it. He said that Deontay Wilder's two hands are the touch of death. I have to agree with him on that, man, wholeheartedly. But Anthony
Yeah.
Joshua is not a KO artist or a KO specialist. What Anthony Joshua has is very high KO power. He kind of reminds me in one. There's one comparison that I could draw with him and like a Earl Spence. They kind of torture you. They beat you down to set up their knockout. Their knockout is not going to be something. It's not going to be something that's going to just get you out of there. You know what I'm saying? Right then and there. They have to do an accumulation of beating you down before they get you out of there. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like he needs to stick to his principles, show that he has the superior boxing ability, keep Ruiz at a distance because he's the taller fighter. I think he got what 3-inch advantage in that fight, and just continue to use his ring generalship. If he does that, sky's the limit. Ruiz is gonna go flat. but I think it's going to be like a late TKO stoppage. I don't think it's going to be something that's going to be early. So if I have to put my predictions out there on that fight, I got Joshua getting him out of there by the 9th or the 10th round. That's the way that I'm looking at how that fight's going to go.
Right. If it is a stoppage, I would see it going into the later rounds too, because Joshua, like you said, he doesn't really have that one punch knockout power. But I think Ruiz got heart
Mm-hmm.
somewhere down in there. I don't think he'll let AJ do him like that. But we'll see though. We'll see for sure.
Yep. 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 All right. So let's flip it. Let's flip the script and let's get into a hot pocket topic because I want to know. I know what your mindset is, D, but I want to know Sis's mindset on this. Spence versus Crawford.
Mm.
So I'm gonna give you the floor, D. I'm gonna let you talk, and then I want to hear what Sis got to say, man. But let's talk about Spence versus Crawford. Is Terrence Crawford the boogeyman of the welterweight division? Does he have Earl Spence spooked?
I, I'll say this real quick. Y'all hear me, right? You and the fans already know where I'm standing on this. Terrence Crawford doesn't have enough to beat Errol Spence. Period. I mean, he's a great boxer, but he's too small. Errol Spence he's underestimated. His skill set is underestimated, and they're too close in skill set for Bud to beat him. That's how I feel about it. So I'll let Sis have the floor.
Um. No, I don't think so because I think if they really wanted this fight, then I don't think Terrence
Just go.
Crawford would have signed with someone who has an issue with the businessman behind making the fights, if that makes
Mm,
sense. You know,
that's a good point. Good
um,
point.
I think if Crawford really wanted it, like if he was going after a legacy kind of title chase, I guess you could call it. I don't know really how to phrase it. Then I
Mm,
think he would have. I think he'd be independent right now, like Earl Spence. Earl Spence has the power to make any fight he wants. He doesn't really. He doesn't go through Al Heyman because Al Heyman isn't a promoter. Al Heyman is an advisor. So Al
yep.
Heyman can't really prevent these guys from fighting each other. However,
Mm,
Al Heyman doesn't have to do business with Bob Arum though. And the fact that Terrence Crawford re-signed, I believe it was a three-year
mm-hmm,
deal with
mm-hmm.
Bob Arum is it's showcasing the fact that he's not. I don't think he's scared, but I think he wants to warm up to the welterweight division a little bit more. And avoiding Spence is the smart thing to do if you want to do something like that. You
Woof,
know,
woof. Shots fired.
You
Shots
you
fired.
slightly off camera, sis. You slightly off camera.
slightly. Let me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let
she's
me.
leaning. She's leaning a
There we
little
go.
bit. But yeah,
Yeah, there we
shots
go.
fired, man. I like those shots. I'm gonna tell you right now. Everybody know where I stand on this, sis. You about to know. It's about to get a little heated.
Okay.
I know I'm
Okay.
gonna get JB and I'm about to get a whole bunch of
Let me
people
sit up
mad.
for
But
this.
listen, man. Earl the True Spence gonna bulldoze Terrence Bud Crawford. I'm gonna say it again.
Mm.
He gonna bulldoze
Bulldoze.
his ass. Bulldoze him. Like you know how you got the lawnmower and you mowing the lawn, he gonna mow him like the lawnmower. Through that lawn.
Through the ring, every
There you
corner.
go. He gonna mow him. Cause I'm tell you right now, man. I'm tell y'all right now. Anybody that know me know that I rocks with the truth, man. And there's a reason why his moniker is the truth. It's because there is no lies that's being told in that boy's fist. No lies.
Right.
Because people gotta understand, Spence puts fighters under mental and physical pressure like nobody's business. This is why
Mhm.
I came up with this moniker that he has the tactical aggression, the technical punching placement, and the body snatching work punishment style, man. It's a levying onslaught because when he comes at you, he's coming at you not only to box you up, he's coming at you to beat you down. And last time I checked, every Earl Spence opponent, they either are a chef, they either are a YouTuber, or they retired. One or the other. Now,
Chef.
I don't know if they still boxing. Lamont Peterson's retired. Philo
Yep.
Greco done got all blown up and fat, and he's a YouTuber. And Chris Algieri, you know the saying, D, the motherfucker is a chef. I'm gonna say it again. The motherfucker is a chef. So when you fight Earl Spence, The proof is in the pudding. Look at Mikey Garcia. It took him 25 days to
Mm.
come out of hibernation.
Yep.
He
And he
came out
didn't
of
even really talk
hibernation.
about the fight either. He came back with a charity event. No knocking to him, but
Thank you.
it's like he had to do something to kind of, kind of cover up that ass whooping.
Thank you. But look what was happening after the 25 days. He was slurring. Me
Mm.
and D was talking about. He sounded like somebody that was concussed. You know what I'm saying? And I gave him new nicknames. He sounded like a beat my face in, aka human pinata. That's what he sounded like to me. He understood that he went 25 days of piss and amber, and it was nothing pretty. So this
Mm.
is my point. I like Terrence Bud Crawford. Terrence Bud Crawford got
Mhm.
skills to pay the bills. I'm not gonna take nothing away from him. But going to that point of what you made, which was correct and it was emphatic, my take is this. Even Mikey Garcia pointed it out. And you know why Mikey Garcia is the subject matter expert on it? Because he used to be with Top Rank. He said if Bud wanted that fight, why re-sign with the guy that has issues with Al Heyman and Bob Arum? Why not come to PBC?
Mm.
Because
I didn't
I've
even know
said
he
this.
said that.
Yeah, Mikey Garcia
Goddamn.
said it. And Mikey Garcia actually said it a few weeks ago. He said
Oh, okay.
if
It was
Bud
recent.
wanted to fight all of the fighters over here on PBC, why didn't he just sign with PBC? He would have got all of the fights he wanted. And here's the thing.
Mhm.
Al Heyman would have rolled the red carpet out for Bud. You know why? Because Bud has something that Spence don't got. Bud was undisputed at 140. So I think he would have even
Exactly.
treated Bud even better than Spence. That's my personal opinion. And it's not like he wouldn't have thrown the he wouldn't have feed these other welterweights to the wolves of Terrence Buck Crawford. He would have done that. Terrence Buck Crawford probably would have had his first fight with a Danny Garcia just to get his feet wet, because we know Danny Garcia is the cherry picker, a second tier welterweight. He would have beat the snot out of him, and then after he would have beat the snot out of Danny Garcia, then they probably would have put him with a Keith Thurman or a Sean Porter. He would have had first dibs over those guys before Earl Spence because of the fact that he's undisputed. And I feel like Bob Arum would have promoted him, not Bob Arum, but Al Heyman would have advised him into the right direction that he needed to go, and he wouldn't be making $3.5 million. Mind you, $3.5 million, and you getting $525, 525,000 that's being taken away from IRS. Bob Arum's not picking up that bill. You got to pay it
Mm.
yourself, and you got to pay a third to Arum and them, and you got to pay 15 to 20% to Bomac. So what are you left with in your $3.5 million each and every fight? Probably, possibly what, a million? Come on, man. That was not a good look for him. A guy that is 31 years old, undisputed at 140. At this level, he should be making anywhere between 10 million or more per fight. And he would have got that with PBC. And he would have got that sweepstakes fight a lot sooner with Earl Spence. So all this narrative about Earl Spence is ducking him, that's nonsense, folks. Come on, man. He's not ducking him. When you tell a man to their face straight up, I will straight up stop you. You are too light on your ass, and I put everything on it. That's not a man that's afraid of me.
Right.
That's all I gotta say.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And I mean, we're pretty much neck and neck with this. I mean, we have the
Yeah.
same points. I think Crawford, he's a family man, and he's okay with taking these these mediocre-ish fights, fights that aren't really on his level, because it's just easy. He's someone. It looks like to me. It's my opinion. It looks like he's someone who likes to take the easy route with the belt, and it's very popular today. I mean, look at let's say Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua doesn't really fight anyone who could be on his level. And the politics that are going on with the promoters back and forth, like
Mm-hmm.
negotiating through the media, Eddie Hearn negotiating through the media and stuff. It's not real negotiating, and it's just a cover up to show that they really don't want the fight. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This going in, man. She going in.
Hey
She
man,
put the gloves
that's
on
why I
today.
already like her. I already like her because you already know
Mm-hmm.
how I am, bro. I always, Beverly, you'll learn this about me because we're gonna have a lot of discussions. But
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
always looking at every angle. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I'm
Mhm.
not the NBBC, those guys. I listen and agree with a lot of the things they say, and he
Mm-hmm.
knows understands this. The LDBC. I listen and agree with a lot of things those guys say. I'm subscribed to Blue Blood. I don't care
Mm-hmm.
what people say about
Mhm.
the LDBC. My thing is this: I am a boxing realist. I come from the perspective of a boxing fan. I am a fan of boxing, not a fan of a boxer. You understand what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I look at things from every angle. And this young lady here seems to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
We fans of boxing, so we're gonna see
Like,
a lot of things eye to eye. We're gonna be right on the same page about a lot of things because we're coming from the
right,
perspective of boxing. You know what I mean?
Now, it's interesting
right,
you
for
mentioned
sure. Yep, we
in
already got good chemistry, you know.
there you go. That's what I'm talking about. It's good that you mentioned NBBC. Sis, have you heard of that boxing community, NBBC?
I haven't actually.
Oh man, I guess they're not making waves, but uh, they a boxing community. So I could enlighten you a little bit. They're a boxing
Okay, for
community
sure.
that is basically trying to take down the LDBC. Basically,
Oh,
they
really?
oh yeah, oh yeah. So if I was you, when you get a chance after the live stream, you might want to take a look at the NBBC. Me, like I
Now,
said,
does it consist of a guy that BFTV is always talking about, or
well,
Well,
I'm gonna
if
tell
you
you
yes
if you
right
and
now.
know?
no.
I'm gonna tell you right
Yes
now
and no.
who's the spokesman of NBBC. I mean, he basically said that he is the face behind NBBC. You can't miss him because he got that yuck mouth that's just so obvious. It's called DT3 the Boom Man. That's the name.
Oh yeah, I've never heard of him.
That's
Okay.
terrible.
DT3. You might have to email that to me so I can
All right.
remember.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
Let,
gonna do
let
that.
me let
DT3
me
the Boom
play
Man.
devil's advocate. Let me
Uh-huh.
play devil's advocate. This is about you guys. It's actually this about you, sis. But he knows no, I can't just hold my tongue. I gotta play
Mm,
devil's advocate because this is me. This is D. You know what I mean? Those
mm,
guys, let me clear this up for you, Beverly. Uh
mm,
those guys are about spreading the truth. Okay.
mm,
Now, I, like I said, agree with a lot of things that the LDB say. So I'm not going to sit and say, oh, the LDBC is not about spreading the truth. I'm not saying that. The
Mhm.
NBBC is about spreading the truth. And
mm,
what they focus on and what they say is some of the biases and some of the race baiting that some of these LDBC channels do, they're debunking that, and they're really pushing that on the NBBC last night. And so that's more of the agenda. Not really to, it's sort of like you have rivals. You know what I mean? You have rivals and
Mhm.
nemesis and everything. And so they're basically probably going to be a rival of the the LDBC, but they're just really pushing the opposite of any foolery, so to speak, that they push. If they're pushing bias, a biased narrative, then the NBBC is going to go attack that. If they're race baiting on a certain subject, then the NBBC is going to go attack that. And DT3 the Boone, man, yes, Boone did start, he is the face of the NBBC, but uh they're no more or no less biased than the LDBC. And that's my opinion. Now that's just
mm,
my
But their
opinion. So,
intention is to
we
take
can't
down the
take that.
LDBC.
Their intention is to debunk anything that the LDBC says that's not accurate. That's what their intention is. Not really to take them down.
Mhm.
But if the LDBC puts out something that we can call bias or that we can call race baiting, then they're going to debunk that narrative. And so
Right.
and
Now,
their
do these
whole
guys go back in
coalition
history
is
though?
basically after that.
Did they go back in history
Yes.
and see the
Yes.
history of racism in boxing? Because that's what we do. And our intention really isn't to.
Yes.
We're not really out to get anyone else. We don't even really mention any other communities or anything on our channels and stuff. Our main thing is I would like to know what their connections are behind the scenes because a lot of our guys they have connections to promoters, presidents of organizations and stuff like that, and a
mhm.
lot of their
They do as
information is
well.
true. Do they have?
They do as well, but not as much as the
All right then.
LDBC. I don't think so. I know they
Okay,
have some.
that's
Boone
probably
is the
why they're not as
actual.
relevant then.
Well, Boone is actual. He's actually a fighter, and I would say that they're not as relevant is because they're fairly new, and a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
coalition is a lot smaller. Like Dante's Boxing Nation got like what 200 ego, like 200,000, and you know what I mean. So
Right.
when you got guys like that that's involved in a coalition versus guys in a coalition, I think their most has probably 14,000. Of course, you're not going to be as relevant. You understand what I'm saying? Of course, they're going to be
Right.
more relevant because they have a broader voice. And then
Mhm.
their coalition has been together for much longer, and they're much deeper knit. They got much more channels involved than the NBBC. It's just fairly new. Uh, so I don't disagree or agree with any of them. I
Mm-hmm.
disagree with a lot of the points that both sides make, and I agree with a lot of the points that both sides make. So that's where I am with it.
I'm gonna tell you guys where I'm at with it. And I wanted to highlight Wasi's point because he made a good point. He said the problem with the LDBC and the NBBC is they are antagonists. They have their own narratives and lose sights of the interests of boxing. Here's my take.
Right, right.
I don't like boxing communities, and I'm glad sis, off the wax, she brought up some good stuff that they've done, what I'm saying, for her. And I'm not gonna go into detail, but they've done good things, you know what I'm saying? And here's my thing. I know that they love boxing. I know the NBBC love boxing. But my take is I'm a free agent, man. I'm a independent contractor. I don't know why everyone just can't be their own channel and just focus on boxing. Now, if you guys have banded together and formed something, right? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And you guys are working to make something good. Why does it have to be a community, what I'm saying, that focuses on a narrative that not more so is a narrative that is trying to help, you know, bring shed light to what's going on? Because I don't have a problem with that. I've made a video where I say that I support the fact that they are trying to bring the black boxing community to the forefront because that's a very divisive community. And if we sit here and open those can of worms, we'll be here all night. So I'm not
Yeah.
gonna open those can of worms. So I appreciate them for doing that, and I will stay firm and I'll argue that down with the best of them that I appreciate them doing that for what it is. But my thing is these boxing communities, the issue that becomes with them is they get caught up in the title, in the title, in the title. Now it's not even about the sport no more. It's about if you don't rock with us, you're not with us. So now it's more of an allegiance type of thing, kind of like
Right.
fraternity, kind of like a sorority. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like any organization that gets close knit and tight group. The NBBC has not been around nowhere near as long as the LDBC. They're
Mhm.
new. They're fresh off the block. They're calling out LDBC. I think some of it is clout chasing, if you want me to be honest with you, so that they could try to push an agenda. But let's keep it real, man. They both have their biases. And the bias that NBBC is doing, and they're not realizing, is they're doing the same exact thing that LDBC is doing, but on the opposite side of the coin. They're thinking that they're being honest and unbiased. But if you disagree with them, which you guys can go and look at my videos, I've eaten and murked a lot of the stuff that the NBBC has said, and they look at me as a pariah instead of having dialogue and conversation and say, "Hey, let's just make it a debate and focus on boxing." They've turned around and said, "No, you are banned. We don't want nothing to do with you." So to me, that's a form of bias, even though that you're going under the banner of unbiased. See,
Mhm.
this is boxing at the end of the day. It's a sport. So why are we making this thing like it's politics, and why are we making this thing serious, man? It's sports, folks. You know what I'm saying? So let's focus on the truth of the fact of the matter. Boxing. Let's focus on free science. Now, if you're gonna form a group and you're gonna base it on a principle that we're gonna talk about boxing, but we're gonna talk about other things, just try to be as diplomatic as you possibly can be about it. Because I've watched some of these brothers' channels, Dante Boxing Nation, Boxing Eagle. When they focus strictly on the street science, I don't mind listening to them. You know what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
when they go into other narratives and other conversations, it's like, okay, now it's not about the sport of boxing. Why am I wasting my time? NBBC does the same thing. I've listened to DT3 Boom Man, And that's why I said, man, like NWA say, man, all publicity is good publicity. I've seen this man go on a 17-minute and 30-second crying session about he knows his sport. That had nothing to do with boxing. Now, you going on a crying session because I'm mentioning your teeth. I mean, come on. This is a social platform. Everybody's going to say some things to people, you know what I'm saying? That's probably not going to be the friendliest thing. But
Right.
this is where we all have to have tough skin here. You know what I'm saying? Because we're
Mhm.
all putting ourselves out there. So we're not always going to get positive things that's going to be said to us. We're going to get negative things that's going to be said to us too. I've had people say Urkel or this or that. Do you sit there and see me go and cry into my back room and oh, boo, boo. I don't do that. You know why? Because to me, at the end of the day, I look at it as there's going to be haters and there's going to be trolls all over the place. I mean, look at it right now. There's this guy named Mitch. He's hating and trolling all over right now. But my point is, people are going to do these things. You know what I'm saying? So why do we need to focus on that rhetoric and not focus on the sweet science? And I feel like that's the issue that's going on with these boxing communities. And then when you have folks that engage because LDBC has done that, and BBC has done that to me. I went on DT3 Boomman's page the other day. I went on his live stream just to talk, and he said, "We're gonna." I see he knows his sport, but I'm gonna act like he's not there. I'm gonna act like I don't see him. But that also happens with the LDBC too. Like if they have someone that vehemently disagrees with them, they block them. See, this platform here, there's none of that. Whether you agree with me or whether you disagree with me, all dialogue and all conversations is welcome because at the end of the day, it's about freedom of speech and freedom of conversation. Everyone's not going to agree with you because if everybody thought the same way, this world would be boring. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So my take is let's just focus on boxing. Let's focus on the sweet science and off with the head with all of these communities, man. And let's just focus on what we do.
Right. And I guess my response to that is, and I'll probably just leave it here.
Mm-hmm.
The LDBC originally started out as solely boxing, but the more their influence grew, it turned into more than just that. And the way that the media kind of tries to downgrade Wilder's image and stuff. You can go as far to say that we've helped a lot of fights be made. A lot of the generals in the LDBC put pressure on these promoters and stuff, like our reporter, Blue Blood Sports TV. He asks a lot of real questions. And now it's just to a point where the community has grown so large that it's just more than boxing. And I think that's where you get a little turned off from because you're solely sweet science, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what you want to discuss. And
Yes.
that's what like I said, that's what it originally was about at first. But now it's to the point where these men are looked up as role models, and they're helping people build and teaching them real estate and whatnot.
Okay.
So
Right,
it's definitely grown past the sport of
right.
boxing. And that's why a lot of people kind of get turned off because some people turn to boxing to get away from real life,
Mm-hmm.
and then they come here and they see certain things that they just, they don't really want to deal with for whatever reason. It's their choice. But like I said, the LDBC is definitely beyond boxing at this point.
Okay. Okay.
Well, let me say something right quick
Mm-hmm.
because some of the things she spoke on. It's been plenty of times, Beverly. I've said this on other live shows because I'm on more live shows than just he knows, and then I've said it in other channels.
Hmm.
There are a lot of things that I have respect for those guys about. That's why I'm not like one of these antagonists. Like I'm against the LDBC or against the NBBC. That's why I'm not an antagonist of anyone because there are a lot of things that I've looked into that I have respect for these guys about.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
When you allow certain channels to join your coalition, then you are guilty by association, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So all of the LDBC are not race baiters. All of the LDBC are not idiots, and all of the LDBC are not biased. But there are channels involved with you guys, or not you guys, but with the LDBC There are that, and I don't care what anybody tells me. But even on the other side, you have the same thing. So that's when you become guilty by association. Now, I don't charge anyone with that guilt because I just think that everybody's out here doing their own thing. And again,
Mm-hmm.
I'm totally objective, and I'm a sports realist. Forget about boxing because I talk about all sports. So I'm a sports realist. I'm about sports first and athletes second. So just I agree with a lot of what you say about those guys. They do a lot more than boxing. And it's
Mm-hmm.
what people forget about. It's sort of like the LeBron James thing, okay? They're bashing LeBron because of the stupid shit that he's doing in the NBA. But outside of the NBA, LeBron does a lot for multiple communities. You understand what I'm saying? And people tend to lose sight of that because of how he's tearing up the game of basketball. You understand? And so this is sort of like what goes on with the LDBC because they want to pound them for one certain reason. They lose sight of the things that they do that are extremely positive and extremely helpful to the boxing and sports community. So I have to agree with you on that.
Right, right.
Okay.
And much respect, we
Okay.
can agree and disagree on certain things, but as long as it's respectful, then, everyone has fun. Like you said, if it was all yes men, like someone just said in the comment section, then it'd be pretty boring. But,
Right.
it's always nice to keep your opinions and things that you stand for.
Yep.
Exactly, exactly. And the reason why I touched on the LDBC and the NBBC is because sis, she represents LDBC, so I wanted her viewpoint, and I wanted to see what someone that's one of those folks that's inside, her take on what's going on, because maybe there's something that I'm missing. So just by her speaking, I was able to learn a few things, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, me too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Velez said on the last show, bro. When you get people involved, especially this young lady here, and again, much respect because I have a 21-year-old daughter, and she has a good head on her shoulder, but you ahead of your time. So,
Oh, thank
but
you,
when you
brother.
when you get people involved like this, yeah, we're gonna teach each other.
Hmm.
I
Right,
argue
most
with
definitely.
he knows his sports. It's only one dude that I debate with on YouTube more than I debate with. He knows his sport. There's only one guy, but I learn from this dude all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So as much as I have to disagree with him, I still learn from him all the time. You know what I mean? So we're gonna teach each other things, and you taught us some stuff today. I tell you that.
Well, I
Much
appreciate I
respect.
appreciate that, D. And you know what? We're gonna flip the script a little bit, and I want to talk about Joshua versus Wilder. I know your take on it, D, but sis, I want you to kind of harp on it. How do you see a super fight of that magnitude taking place?
Um, I think right now Hearn just has to stop negotiating through the media and actually, sit down with Wilder's team and accept that it's a 50-50 fight at this point. Back, how, what is it, like a year or two ago, Wilder accepted that 12.5 million. AJ had an excuse for that. Well, Eddie Hearn had an excuse for that. Now, at this point, Wilder's been building his name. He's more popular than AJ in the States. And everyone out there in the UK knows him. Excuse me. So right now it's 50-50, and Wilder doesn't need him. The only reason why AJ is really relevant right now is because he has the belt. Of course, obviously he's relevant in his home state. He's a superstar athlete. I mean, his home country rather. He's a superstar athlete out there. But when he goes anywhere else, there's not much buzz, because his fights just don't have that kind of excitement. His fights aren't really. Wilder doesn't really have, a lot of controversial wins to his fights, or people questioning whether or not a fight has been kind of rigged or something like that. He doesn't have like odd stoppages and stuff like that. He has a very, very definitive career, whether or not people like his style. And AJ, on the other hand, he he's got a promotional team. It kind of reminds me of Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence Jr. Who's the one with the promoter and who's the one without a promoter? Shelly Finkel is Wilder's manager. And when was the last time we seen what's his face? I don't even know his name anymore. I forgot Wilder's promoter who used to promote him. Uh, Lou
Lou
DeBella, not
DiBella?
DeBella.
With the Bella.
Yeah, Lou DeBella. Yeah, when was the
Yeah.
last time you really kind of seen him? You know, Wilder, he's doing his thing, and right now he's the A side in my opinion. And yeah, like I said, Eddie Hearn just has to accept that this is a 50-50 fight. And like he said in his interviews, gamble with Anthony Joshua. He keeps on projecting his fears into these interviews, talking about, we have to put the pressure on us. Like, why are you telling us we have to put the pressure on you to make the fight? You should be negotiating and like less of this and more of pen writing. And that's just my take on it. I feel like Hearn isn't serious until he stops running his mouth to the cameras. Until then, they're just going to keep on being a freaking cat and mouse chase. And Wilder's going to be fighting everyone that AJ's fought because AJ, like I see it as AJ running away from Wilder and he's throwing these obstacles in front of him. And those obstacles are previous opponents that AJ has already fought. So now it's to a point where Wilder has become so big that he doesn't need AJ. He doesn't need AJ to have a big payday. He's built his name up the same way AJ and Eddie Hearn have been telling him these past years. It's their fault now that AJ. I mean, not necessarily their fault, but they've helped in building Wilder's stardom. They turned him into the boogeyman of the heavyweight division. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and like I said, until he stops running his mouth and actually is serious about negotiations with that 50-50 split, then we're not going to have a fight. The way I see that fight going, though, that's going to be a 4-round knockout right there. If Waller needs to work
Woo.
on cutting the ring off a little bit, which he does. He's very fundamentally sound. If you really study Wilder's footage, he has a jab like Tommy Hearns. He's got a right hand like Tommy Hearns. He's defensively responsible. He's got a nice left hook. He's got some uppercuts. He knocked Luis Ortiz out with an uppercut. The guy's a good boxer. For someone who started boxing at 20 years old, he's very well rounded. Like, look at the Dominic Brazil fight. He was not. You could tell he wasn't really following a game plan. He just wanted to go in there and take his head off, but he still was able to be defensively responsible. After he threw that right hand, he thought Dominic Brazil was going to come back with a left hook or something, and he ducked. So the guy, he's got ring IQ, he's got the skills, and that's why I feel like they're avoiding him.
What you gotta say, D?
Boy, oh boy, I love to listen to this young lady talk.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I tell you what.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say this. I want you to think about this here, Beverly.
Mm-hmm.
I have many times before called Wilder a knockout specialist.
Right.
Okay. Now you said you were involved in MMA a little, right?
Mm-hmm.
So have you heard of Tank Abbott? Long time ago, UFC.
No, I haven't.
All right. Well, I'll drop a little knowledge for you. Give you a little
Okay.
knowledge. Back when the UFC first started a while back, this is when they didn't really have a lot of the rules they have and everything else. They
Mm-hmm.
still had fighters in there that were, jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, whatever, they had guys that were trained. But you had this guy, Tank Abbott. He was a bouncer and a brawler. And he came in there and took the UFC by storm, beating the hell out of all of these guys. Some guys have natural fighting ability, and that's what Wilder has. Wilder is a knockout artist. He's not your traditional boxer. And just like you said, like you seen him duck, well, he didn't duck for reasons of the sweet science. He ducked for reasons of instinct
Mm-hmm.
because he's a warrior. He's a
Mm-hmm.
fighter. This is why he's unorthodox. And this is what I tell people. I laughed. I kind of giggled when you said 4th-round knockout because I always tell people AJ is a boxer of the sweet science. But when you are a boxer like that and you're used to guys doing things, you're used to them doing things from boxing, from the
Mm-hmm.
boxers. So when you throw those feints, when you paw, when you take that step, you're used to them reacting in a boxing way. Well, Wilder
Mm-hmm.
is
Right.
unorthodox, so he's not going to come in a boxing way. He's going to come in another way, and he's going to flatline you. So where people don't see the traditional skill, just like you said, he's a very skilled fighter. But you said the right thing. He's a skilled fighter. He's not a skilled boxer. You understand where I'm going with that?
Mm.
And that's
Mm-hmm.
what
So you're
people have to
saying, are you
understand.
saying that someone on the street knows how to establish a jab the way Wilder does, or keep his
You damn
distance
right
with
they
the
do. You
jab?
damn right they do. You want me to tell you why I know? Want me to tell you why I know for sure? I had an uncle who was a boxer.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I know this
Uh-huh.
game. But me here, I'm a fighter. That's what I used to do. I used to go to the clubs just to fight.
Right.
So we develop certain skills out there fighting all the time that you're going to
Mhm.
develop in the ring. We
Mm,
develop feints ourselves. We understand feints ourselves. You understand what I'm saying? Some people
Right.
have the natural ability to fight. They're warriors.
Mhm.
And that's Wilder. He doesn't have the traditional uh, footwork. He doesn't have the traditional punches, but he will flatline you. And that's
Right.
dangerous. And he's figured out a way to get the knockout through all adversity. He's been in fights where guys was beating him by the cards, but he knocked him out because he's a specialist. That's what he does. He knocks you out.
okay. Well,
Okay. Well, I
let
oh,
me
okay.
chime in real quick, sis. Let me piggyback off of you and let me add and support what you just said because I don't think a lot of folks understood how deep and profound what Beverly Rose just said. So I'm gonna add on to it. See, you can't be a bronze Olympic medalist. You know, even Jay Diaz pointed that in the last fight against Dominic Brazil. You can't win a bronze medal not
Mm-hmm.
having fundamentals and not having skills.
Yep.
And people
Exactly.
forget Wilder sparred with Vladimir Klitschko. He learned a lot in those sparring sessions.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Klitschko attested to Wilder's ring generalship. He attested to Wilder's ability to cut the ring off.
Yep.
Not just anybody off the street can just do that. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to
Exactly.
have a degree of boxing fundamentals and skills to do that. I'm not gonna sit here and say that his fundamentals and skills are to the level of Anthony Joshua. I believe that Anthony Joshua is a more skilled fighter. But I'm not gonna sit here and underrate Wilder's skills and his ability because time in and time out, when I see Wilder is focused, like he did in the Dominic Brazil fight, like when he fought Spilka, Wilder was showing head movement, man. He was showing back foot, you know what I'm saying, slick evading punches. You know what I'm saying? He was showing his ability to stick and move. He was showing his ability to counter. You know what I'm saying? Those types of things are things that are representative of someone that has a good degree or a good measure of skills and fundamentals. Wilder is just one of those guys that because like D said, he's a knockout artist and a knockout specialist, he runs to that because that's his bread and butter. It's kind of like
Yep.
Spence. Spence runs to the bulldozing because that's his bread and butter. But those guys have skills, man. You're not just knocking out. Listen to this, man. And I want folks to understand this. Beverly, I know this is going to get you hyped up. You don't knock out 40 opponents off of just knockout ability. That don't just happen
Exactly.
because you're knocking
Grown
people
men
out.
at that too.
That's right.
Grown
You
men.
setting up something to
You
knock
gotta
them
have
out.
something else. You gotta
You
have
got to
something
have
else.
something else.
And it's fundamentals,
And
underrated
what people don't
fundamentals.
understand is Wilder has one of the best stiff jabs in the game. His
Yeah.
stiff jab is
Tommy
underrated.
Hearns.
Thank you. And you saw that in the Brazil fight. He set up
And the Bermain
Brazil with
Stavern
that
fight
stiff
too.
jab.
Hell.
Thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
he did.
The first one. Yeah. True that.
Mhm.
Yes, he did. See,
They
you
don't
know,
teach you that on the street. They don't even teach you that really in MMA. They teach you a
Okay. Hold
well-rounded
on.
ability of
Hold on now.
skills.
Hold on. Hold
exactly,
on. Let me
exactly.
let me come in because I need to clear up and I need you guys too to understand something.
Mhm.
Okay. When
Okay.
I said what I said, and he knows this, so now Beverly, stay woke. Like my man RB the Breakthrough say, stay woke. Listen, I always say things with purpose and reason.
Mhm.
Okay?
Okay.
You guys don't take out of context what I'm saying now about Wilder. Now I
Mhm.
agree with the fundamentals, but let me explain something to you. Everything that he knows just described, right? I'm going to give you a guy that does every single one of those things, and he's not a boxer, and he's never been a boxer, and he briefly studied boxing, and his name's Anderson Silva. His head movement, his jab, you understand what I'm saying? And this is just
Mhm.
strictly the stand up because he is a fighter. Now, I'm telling you guys this from experience. I have
Now,
had
what does he
broken jaw.
specialize in though?
He's MMA. He's MMA.
No, what
Anderson,
is his specialty? What is his martial art that he specializes
Brazilian
in?
Brazilian Jiu Jitsu.
No, it's
That's a lot
Muay
of
Thai. It's Muay Thai.
Muay Thai.
Anderson Silva was Muay Thai. That's
well, what well,
kickboxing.
well, you right. Well, actually, it's both. But you right. You right. I have to agree with you on that. He is a Muay Thai
Right.
specialist. That is true.
He's primarily a striker. That's what
Yes,
everyone
he
knows
is.
Anderson Silva for, his
Yes,
striking
he is.
ability.
Yes, he
He
That
is
is.
step
a
movement, you
striker.
get that from Muay Thai. They teach you in Muay Thai to keep your distance with your feet. It's called a teep kick. You
That's
know,
right.
a teep kick
That
is
is
basically
true.
your jab with your leg.
That's
So,
true, but
you
he's a
know,
fighter though. He's a fighter. It's even in Muay Thai now, Beverly. I know that you know this because you are really, really detailed in your study. So I know that you understand this. Even in Muay Thai,
Hmm.
the sweet science is much different. You understand what I'm saying?
the
Even you got
fundamentals
all
are
of these
there
Muay,
though. The
the
fundamentals are there.
fundamentals, and remember, I agree with y'all on the fundamentals, right?
Mhm.
Remember, I said that I agree with y'all on the fundamentals, but fundamentals ain't gonna make you what Wilder is. Wilder has these otherworldly, outworldly abilities that make him that. Yes, he has the fundamentals, but he has the awkwardness. He has the unorthodox
Yeah.
style.
Right, right.
You
He's something
understand?
I've
And
never
that's
seen
why we're coming
before.
from
I
that
agree
angle.
with you
And
there.
I'm coming from an angle of experience here because I have over 100 real fights. You understand? I'm talking real
Mhm.
fights. I've had eye sockets cracked, ribs broken, bruised up, jaws.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Listen, these skills you're gonna get when you are a fighter.
Right, and
And
I
Wilder,
can agree with you there because my
you
mama,
know
she
what I
grew up in
mean?
East Oakland. You know, she grew up fighting too. You know, so I
Right.
Hmm.
learned a
So
lot from her as well. You know,
right.
she's
So
a
I'm not
natural. She's
taking
never trained a
anything
day in her
from
life. So, like,
right, and I'm not
I know what
taking
you're
that
talking
from
about. But I think that it's a mixture of his unorthodox, unlearned ability as well as his
exactly.
boxing fundamentals. That's gonna make him
That's where
knock
I'm coming
AJ
from.
out in 4 rounds.
Now you getting me. Now you get. That's where I'm coming from. That's where I'm coming
Mhm.
from. And I always said that AJ had to get the job done before
Right.
6 or 7 rounds. If he didn't get the job done before 6 or 7 rounds, Wilder would flatline him. I always said that.
Hmm. Well, see, well, see, I agree with everything Beverly Rose said. I don't have nothing much more to add on it because D, you my man. You know what I'm saying? I'll fucks with you, man. I ride with you, but she got you on that one, man. She had me sitting back like, damn, boy. She got you, boy. She had you
Well,
It's all
corrected
love
a little
though.
bit.
well,
You had to adjust a
you can
little bit.
look at it that way. You can look at it that way. But what I did is I actually corrected the perspective that y'all had on what I
Right,
was
right.
saying.
Yeah, I see
Is
what you
what I
mean.
did.
I see what you
You
mean.
see
You're
what I mean? I
basically saying that
corrected
it's a
your
mixture. It's a
perspective on
mixture
what
of
I
his
was saying.
natural ability.
Right?
It's a
She
mixture of
didn't.
his natural ability and his fundamentals, you
Exactly.
know?
That is exactly what I was saying. So I didn't. She
Right.
didn't correct me. I corrected your perspective. He knows on what I was saying
Yeah,
because you
see.
immediately came back at me as if I was saying he couldn't box. That's why I had to come back and say, "Let me correct this," because that's what you do. See, Beverly, you'll figure this out with me and him. I will make a statement and he'll come back with some BS. You know what I'm saying?
He said
Like
BS.
if I said this or if I never said that that man couldn't, but I never said anything about his boxing abilities. I said exactly what she said in the end. It is a mixture. That was the perspective I was coming from. So I had to clear that up before Mr. Twisteroo over here trying to say, oh, well, D was saying that Wilder can't box and she straightened him out. No, sir. That's not what
D,
happened there. But,
D, don't
you know,
be like,
nice try with that, bro. I
don't
know how you
become
do. I like how you
D,
do yours, bro. I like how you
D.
do yours.
Don't become a whatever the fuck his name is, number
Oh
two.
no, sir. No,
D.
sir. Don't try that. Don't try that. Go back and
Don't do
listen to
that,
what I
man.
said. I never said that man couldn't box. I
Uh,
said
Oh
he
Lord.
has
oh, boy.
awkwardness,
Uh,
unorthodox style.
Right.
That's what he
all
got.
right.
Who has a style like him? It's
All right,
unorthodox, bro.
we gonna flip it up. We gonna switch because D don't want to admit he got countered, but we gonna switch. We gonna switch. Let's go to the next topic.
All right.
What's up with
It's all love.
it is,
All
man? It's
love,
all love.
all
Hey,
love. He knows his
I'm not
forces.
coming. D, I'm not coming at you, man. All I'm saying is she one upped you on that one. That's all I'm saying, man. It's all love.
Again,
It's all
depending on what perspective you take. If you take the perspective that I said something against Wilder's boxing, then you would say that. But I never did.
love. All
That's what
right.
I'm trying to tell you.
All right. Well,
It's that simple.
You might want to check the chat because I'm not the only one that see it that way. But
Okay.
anyways, let's switch it up. Let's switch it up. Naoya Inoue. What is you guys' take on him? Is he overrated or is he the real deal?
He's real.
It's a little. Oh, you want to go first? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
go
No,
Go
ahead,
go
ahead,
D.
ahead. You
brother.
go
Go ahead,
ahead.
D. Go ahead, D.
You
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Now go ahead, D. I want you to go
Oh,
first.
he's real. I mean, listen, he's in a sense like let's look at Tank Davis, right? Now, I'm not making this comparison except on the amount of fights.
Mm.
He knows his sports, and everybody listening, because old Mr. Twisty here. The only comparison is the amount of fights. Period, bro. Okay, so we take a look at Tank Davis and the amount of fights they have. I would say that uh Naoya is still somewhat of a prospect because he hasn't been proven outside of Japan. But what he does in the ring, I think that he's ready to fight anybody. That's how I look at it. I mean, the dude, like he has the footwork, he has the, it, I mean, he has all the skills, bro. He has the tools. I've done film study on Inoue, and his power is amazing. So I think he's ready to fight anyone. I can't just out front say that he's a boogeyman or he's the best in his division or whatever like that. But listen, man, this guy is like the future. He's like the top of the line prospect, right up there with the rest of these guys, man.
What's your take on it, sis? How you feel about Naoya, and how do you feel about his upcoming fight with Emmanuel Rodriguez? What do you think of him? What's your take on him?
I would have to agree with what Dee said. Actually, I think when he said, well, I think that the media is overrating him for sure.
Right.
He's not on my pound for pound list at all. I mean, I think it's just too soon to consider him pound for pound. I mean, I don't even think that he's moved up in weight to be considered pound for pound. I mean, it's in the name, pound for pound. You know, you can't really comparing his power to Wilder. I think that's kind of redundant as well. I think they're just trying to overhype him, kind of the way they overhyped Lomachenko when he first came out, comparing him to Muhammad Ali and stuff like that. It's just kind of what the media is trying to do in regards to that. But skill wise, he probably could take on the top guys, you know, in his division. I
Yeah.
think he's very defensively responsible. You know, he's fundamentally sound for sure. He knows how to counter and he knows
Mm.
how to set up that left
Mm-hmm.
hook. But you know,
Mm-hmm.
I need to see some more fights from him before I can consider him pound for pound. You know,
Yeah.
but I like him. I do like him a lot. I like you don't see a lot of guys who get one shot knockouts in that weight class. It's very
Hmm.
exciting to
No.
watch. You know,
I
but
think
yeah, like uh huh.
no. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You was making the last point, sis.
Yeah, I think yeah, I just have to see a few more fights from him and maybe do some more film study too to see where his ring IQ is at too. You know, let's see him when he's under pressure. You know, let's see if he can fight off the back foot. Let's see, you
He
know,
can.
right, right. Yeah, he does
He
do that well.
can.
You know, he pivots well when he fights off the back foot. He does. He has
Yeah.
very good angles. He's pretty fast. You know, he's a he's a very skilled up and coming fighter. But like I said, let's just back off a little bit on the media hype because he's nowhere near pound for pound yet. We have too many belt holders. We have two undisputed champs right now, you know, that are on the pound for pound list, and I would put Lomachenko ahead of him on my pound for pound list. But yeah, you know, that's pretty much all I got to say about him. What were you saying, brother?
Yeah, my take on it is this, and it's really simple. I feel like he has some ways to prove himself. I like his skill set. It's glaring. You know what I'm saying? Everyone could see what he brings to the table. It's very impressive how he gets his knockouts because he gets it in so many different variations and forms and facets. So I'm gonna give him that. We all know he's gonna flatline Rodriguez. I don't even think that's gonna be a
I
competitive
think he
fight.
already fought him though.
Yes, he already did.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so we know he's gonna flatline him. So that's not even gonna be competitive within
Wait, they're doing a
itself.
rematch?
They, yeah, let's just say they fighting again. Like it's just
Mm,
Is it because he's really cleaning out that division when you think about it. I mean, there's
right.
not really many opponents,
Yep.
that could really face him. So now he's in a situation where he's refighting opponents again. When you think
Oh
about
yeah, yeah, yeah. So now he's got to move up. Then we can start talking about pound for
it, there
pound.
you go. I was just hitting on that point. I was just about to hit on it, and you hit on it. It's like we're being symbiotic here, like Spider-Man and Venom, real quick. but he needs to move up in weight class. That's what he needs to do to show me that his power can translate between weight class. Because when somebody's powerful like that, they have to show when they move up that it translates. Because if he
Mhm.
moves up to
Right.
the next weight class and then he doesn't showcase himself to have that same level of power, then now we might be having another conversation about is he overrated. You know who he reminds me of? And I'm gonna mention that fighter. He reminds me of um I think he's like a, correct me if I'm wrong, D. He's like a kind of a darker skin Hispanic fighter. He was on the pound for pound list with Triple G. His name's coming to me, man. It's just I had it and it just blinked away.
Chocolatito?
There you go, Chocolatito.
Oh,
There you go. The name
Right.
came back to me. You remember how they were pumping him up and they had him
yeah,
Yeah.
on the pound for pound list all over the place, and they were saying Chocolatito is this and he's that, and then boom, he ended up having that big loss, right? That
right.
really messed his stock up. This is
Yep.
what I'm kind of feeling with
Yep.
Naoya Inoue. I'm feeling this Chocolatito vibe with him. You know what I'm saying? And before we
Yeah,
position him and put him in that space, let's see more fights from him, and let's see if he does not have an embarrassing loss, so that we don't consider him a Chocolatito number two. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I want him to move up in weight class, and I want to see more fights from him, and I want to see him fight credible opponents, because it looks good when you're having these knockouts against people that you are leagues and shoulders above. But now
Right.
put him in there with somebody that's elite just like him and that can fight. And then let's see if he's still doing that. That's my take on
I think at 126, or wait, what's next for him? 118, 126 is next for him, right?
it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't. With the way he's knocking guys out, man. Um, I spoke on this before. It's a difference from a TKO and a KO. He's
Yep.
knocking guys out. You
Yep.
know,
Right.
he's having their eyes roll back and
Mm-hmm.
spasms, leg kicking on the ground. He's gonna knock guys out at 126 too, man. Little guys, period. Bantamweights, featherweight, they're not. You ain't seen guys knocking guys out like that since Manny Pacquiao. Little guys don't generally pack that kind of power, bro. And you see where that kind of power took Manny Pacquiao 8 divisions up. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of power as a little guy took Manny Pacquiao 8 divisions up. Now I'm not at all saying putting Inoue as a Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao is a fighting legend right now. But what I'm saying is when these smaller guys have that kind of power, uh, dude, like he go to the next weight class. I don't see him doing anything
Mm-hmm.
different because his skills are there, his fundamentals are there, his footwork's there, his defense there. But that power's not going anywhere. That power already translates to the next class, if you ask me.
Yep. 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 All right. So now let's we got two more topics, and I'm gonna go into the next topic. This is gonna be a favorite topic of D Jefferson's. I want to talk about
Oh,
I want to talk about Teofimo Lopez, man.
I knew you would get right back with my boy.
Because since we already jumped on Naoya, let's talk about Teofimo. And since I want to know your take on that as well too. But D, I'm gonna let you go first. Teofimo Lopez, what is your current take on him, and how do you see his ceiling in boxing?
What's your current take on Errol Spence?
He's the truth. He's the truth.
Okay, there you go. Teofimo is going to be a star, bro, a superstar. Period. I've done so much film study on this guy,
Mm-hmm.
and this is something. This is something that you can't take away from young talents. Is their natural abilities? Okay. Now those natural abilities have to be honed. They
Mm-hmm.
have to be honed. They have to be coached and trained and developed into a great fighter. But the kid has all of those natural abilities and some. The and some is the power. That's number one because everybody don't just come with that kind of power. But the second is what I talked about earlier is the way his recognition. You understand? He
Mm,
recognizes things and fighters' tendencies much quicker. Okay, and with the film study that I've done on, it's sort of like Inoue. He is setting up these knockouts. He's not just getting them. It's not like AB back in the day. Adrian Broner got a lot of his knockouts because of his athleticism, because of his natural talent. No, Teofimo is learning the sweet science. That's the difference between a him and an AB. And where you and I disagree all the time, he knows, is where you
mm,
put too much weight in his father. Because
mm,
this kid, I agree with the things that you say about his father, but
mm,
you put too much weight on him and what he is because of his father's mouth. This kid and what he is a gym rat.
mm,
This kid and what he is a natural talent. This kid is in the gym. He's into boxing. So yeah, his father talks all, he runs off at the mouth too much. But inside of that ring and the way Teofimo performs and the thing
mm.
and the way he's setting up these knockouts, I don't care how much his father runs his mouth off. We can't knock him and say, oh, well, he's only like 4 my prospect because his dad talks too much. No, no. Teofimo is, like I say, he's right there with Haney and Shakur Stevenson. But unless you guys like some things you envision, he knows the sports. You say, well, look, everybody don't see it, but I see it.
Mm.
And y'all will see sooner or later. That's all I can tell you about it because you don't see it. But if you do enough film work on the kid, you'll understand what I'm talking about.
What's your take on this, sis? How you feel about Teofimo Lopez?
I low key agree with you, D. I'm actually looking at some film of him right now. I don't think they're gonna let Loma fight him anytime
No,
soon.
nope.
Um, I think you're right. He does. He definitely. He knows what punches to throw. He knows when to throw them. He knows how to make you cover up a certain part of your body and then come back up top.
Mm,
Exactly.
And that's how you set up a knockout. That's an elite level way to set up a knockout, like
Exactly.
feigning and stuff, and like covering up, making them shell up and stuff, going to the body, coming back up top. I mean, this
Mm-hmm.
guy, he might be it. He might be it. You know,
Boom.
he might be it for sure.
I'm gonna say this. Cause see, sis, I gotta play devil's advocate here because
Okay.
I thought you were gonna side with me on this one, but you side with me. It's
Mm-hmm.
all good.
Well, I
It's
guess
all
it
good.
depends on who he's fighting too. I got to look at the guy's. Let me pull up box rec
You know
on
what she
you
did? You know why I know
real
she side
quick.
with you, D? Because she ain't been looking at Teofimo enough. I'm gonna put it
That's
on
probably
that.
yeah. That's
No,
why I
I'm
just
gonna
no,
said
put
let
it
me
no,
on
pull
because
that.
she
up
does
box
real
rec.
I'm gonna
film
put it
Let
on
me
study.
pull up
Because
box
she
rec
does
and
real
see.
film study. He knows his sport does not do real film study. That's why she agrees, because she does real film study.
Here
Cut
we
it
go.
out,
No,
Here
I'm
bro.
we
not gonna
We
lie. I
always
haven't
go
I
through
haven't
this.
seen too many fights of
here we
him. That's
go.
why I'm about
Here
to
we
pull
go.
up his box rec right now. Let me
Here
see
we go.
his
Listen,
resume.
man.
She does real film study.
Listen,
Like with
listen,
my uncle, who was a professional fighter,
listen,
he does real film study.
listen, man.
That's what we do.
Oh,
Listen.
I didn't
That's
even
why
know
we
he
see
had
it the
13
same.
fights. He only got 13 fights. Hold on, let's pause a little
That's
bit.
right.
Yeah,
And look at what he's doing in 13 fights. Look at the things he's doing in
11,
I
13
11
think she's
fights.
KOs, but let's see
I
who
think
he's
she's
fighting though.
speaking because I think she's speaking in agreement with you because I think she need to go back to tell her the tape and she's gonna see what I see. But let
Right,
me
right.
say
I'm
this
No,
looking
to
at it
she
right
D.
has an
now.
eye,
Let me
bro.
say this real
It's an
quick.
eye. Film study.
You
When
had
you
the
do
floor.
film
D, you
studies,
had the floor. Let me talk real
okay, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Here's my take on it. The last fight with Edith Tatley, that was not Teofimo's most impressive win. It was not. He should have got Edith Tatley out of there quicker and in quicker fashion than what he normally I'm accustomed to Teofimo Lopez doing. That was a step up fight, fam. And I saw some things in that fight that alluded to the point of what I was trying to say about him. Now, I know you sit here and say that my tell of the tape is inferior to your film study.
I didn't say that. No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Now, but I okay, I'll rephrase it that I don't do film study or okay, however you said it. I'm gonna just run with however you said it. But last time I checked, there's a reason why I always use the moniker and the prediction king strikes again. Because in my tell of the tape, I don't get predictions wrong. I may get a round edge off or something like that, but I'm almost always right with my prediction. So I just had to, shout myself out real quick with that one. But anyway, let me get back to this fight with Edith Tatley. And I think you biased to Tio, you might disagree with me vehemently, but I saw some issues in that fight where he was getting tagged up by Edis Tatley, and it had a lot to do with that bad habit that Teofimo Lopez has that I've seen his predecessors. Sergio Martinez had that bad habit. Roy Jones Jr. has had that bad habit, and Roy Jones Jr. got knocked out by Tarver because of that bad habit, and Sergio Martinez got retired by Miguel Cotto because of that bad habit. You know what it is? Keeping those hands down. I get it. Those guys have superior athleticism. I'm not a fan of fighters that do the low guard stuff. I'm not a fan of that stuff, man. I don't like when they have that one hand down and that one hand up. Because what happens is when you keep winning in that fashion over and over and over again, you know what happens? You get caught into that habit that style right there, I'm knocking people out in that fashion, so I'm gonna still keep doing that. But here's the thing: when you do fight an elite opponent, that is like, oh, you gonna disrespect me and you gonna keep your hands down. I'm gonna make sure that I counter you and I'm gonna tag you up. When you fight an elite opponent that can expose that, those bad habits have already been sunk in for too long to the point where it's gonna get exposed. I think Teofimo Lopez is a special talent, but you know how I've said fathers in boxing can make or they can break you. His dad runs his mouth a little bit too much for a guy who has nowhere near proven himself to be that guy that he keeps saying that his son is. Now, don't get me wrong, his son has talent, but don't put the cart before the horse. You know what I'm saying? Because at this point, it's a lot more barking than it is biting. Who realistically has Teofimo fought that is elite?
Right.
No
Right.
one.
That's
No
why.
one. No one. So when we sit here and we talk about Teofimo Lopez and what he's doing, let's be honest. Right now, we could give him, and I'm not gonna disrespect him because I think he's leagues and shoulders above Mikey Garcia, but he's doing what Mikey Garcia's done. He's fought nothing but what? Uber, Lyft, and hold up for a second. Taxi driver. That's what he has fought, man. He has not fought real competition. So he's
Right.
looking impressive because of who he's faced in front of him. Now, if you put a Lomachenko in front of him, he gets exposed. He
Mm.
doesn't only get exposed, he gets demolished, he gets exposed, and he gets trounced. That's what he's calling out, right? Now, if I'm Teofimo Lopez, I need to see you against Richard Comey. You know what I'm saying? Or Luke Campbell to well, mind you, it won't be Luke Campbell because Loma's fighting him. But I want to see you against a Richard Comey. Step it up. Give me a step up fight. And then let me see what you about in those step up fights. Let me see you against elite competition. And if you're able to keep your hands down and still dominate those levels of opponents, then you know what? I'll be the first one. You heard it on wax. I'll be the first one to come back and put respect on Teofimo Lopez's name, and I will eat crow. But for right now, I'm not sold on him because
Okay.
I don't like from a boxing perspective. I don't like his stance. To me, his stance is defensively irresponsible stance, and I've seen great ones prior to him have that same stance because they predicate their boxing ability on their athleticism so much that when they do start getting older and they start losing those legs, they get exposed. So that's my issue with Teofimo Lopez. And in that Edith Tatley fight, if you watch it, Tatley was able to land some jabs on him, and he was able to get some counter shots on him. And you know why? Because of the fact that Teofimo Lopez was feeling himself too much, and he was looking for the knockout. I think he's too knockout happy. That's a glaring deficiency. Because when you're fighting, you don't want to be always looking for the knockout. Sometimes your wins should happen in a decision, a boxing decision. Sometimes they should win, they should happen in you trying to outpoint the opponent. But Teofimo Lopez does not have that mindset. We hear his mindset. You've heard it, I've heard it. And Beverly, as you start reading more on him, you're going to hear it too. Even he questioned Terrence Bud Crawford with the Amir Khan fight. You know what I'm saying? When he was like, man,
Mhm.
if that was me, I would have got him out of there even faster. His mindset is about knocking people out. And I believe when he fights elite competition, a la the Devin Haney's of the world, his ass will be exposed. Because they ain't putting up with that nonsense of, oh, you just gonna come in here and try to knock me out. Does the boy have good footwork? Yes. Does he have skills? Yes. But I feel like the road that he's going on is dangerous. So that's where I'm holding the jury out. Not because I don't like Teofimo Lopez. It's because he still has a lot to show me. That's where I'm at with that.
Right.
Okay.
I might
Oh,
have to hop the fence on this one. He's making a lot of good points, and looking at his resume, it's he's got
oh,
a lot to prove for sure before we can start calling him the truth at least.
right. Let me ask you this.
Mm,
Let me ask both of y'all this.
Okay.
Okay, so he says that Teofimo has not fought any elite fighter, right? And I agree with that. Okay. Let me ask you this: Romero, Ryan Garcia, Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney.
mm.
What elite fighter have they fought?
That's
No
true
one.
too.
No one has fought
Oh,
any elite
hold on.
fighters.
Okay, no one, right?
But no one's calling him the truth either.
Exactly.
We just, everybody's calling Devin Haney the future of boxing. No,
No.
this is what I'm saying about.
I'm
This
Not
is
not
what I'm
calling
saying.
Devin
everybody.
Haney the future of boxing.
Not
Ah,
everybody.
okay. Well, listen, man. Listen. When I say that Teofimo is the truth, I said the same thing that I mean about Shakur, the same thing I mean about Devin. I just said this earlier. I see all of these guys at the same level.
Mm,
So let's not again take out of perspective what I'm saying here.
mm,
I'm not saying that he's on the level of Lomachenko or these guys. I just said earlier he is at the level of Shakur and Devin,
okay.
right?
Okay.
So I'm not putting him, I'm not overhyping him. You
Mm,
know what I mean? I'm no fanboy.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
What I'm saying is everything that he knows just said about Teofimo, you can apply to Romero, Ryan Garcia, Shakur Stevenson. Look at Shakur just got into trouble legally, and he's always talking crap. So
mm,
so what? Teofimo talks crap. You understand? This is what young guys do. So I'm not gonna hold these strikes against Teofimo because every other one of those prospects have the same exact strikes against them, bro. Outside of the dad running off of his mouth, but they have the same strike. They all talk. They all called out Tank and Lomo. Devin Haney said he feels exactly the same as Teofimo as Lomo, and he'll beat Lomo up. Came out his own mouth. But Teofimo's supposed to be less because he said the same thing? No, no. Teofimo's supposed to be less because he didn't fight an elite? No, neither did none of them. They're all the same, bro. This guy is right there with any of them. I'm not going to say that Devin Haney is going to be this, but Teofimo may not because his dad talks too much or he talks too much. Didn't Shakur Stevenson call out Tank? He knows. But you had a whole video about Teofimo calling out Tank. So I
mm,
mean, these guys are they just young, they're excited. But when you look at his skills, when you do the film work on his skills, like I said, his recognition, when he does these things, he's doing them for a reason. He
mm,
understands these things at a higher level than he's fighting at, bro. He only has 13 fights. So he should have the things that Teofimo does, you see from fighters who are 27 fights in, literally.
mm,
But he's doing this with 13 fights. He's not just going out there gunslinging, knocking guys out because he has power. He's using the sweet science to get these knockouts.
mm.
And I don't care what you say about not being so impressive. When you knock a guy out in 6 rounds, bro, I'm not trying to hear that stuff you talk about he didn't impress you. Are you serious? He
I mean,
flatlined
if you
him.
really think about it, though, six
He
rounds
knocked
is
him
pretty
out.
average. If you're using the sweet science, that'd be about average. Takes what, the first 3 rounds to probably set up a jab, maybe
Right,
the
Mhm.
fourth and fifth round to probably set up
right.
something. But I
And he
wouldn't say
got him
that
out of there.
but I wouldn't say that's too impressive though. Like
Thank
you're
I'm
you.
not saying
saying,
it's I'm not
I
saying that
wouldn't
it's
say
too
that
impressive, but you
he's
can't
the
knock
top
it and say
prospect.
it's
I would
not
say
impressive.
Devin
It's
Haney.
six
Devin
rounds.
Haney's probably better skill wise than him. He's more
Yep.
well
Yes, for
rounded
sure.
than
For sure. I
Teofimo
said that plenty
Lopez.
of times.
Now that
Wait.
he knows just mentioned the fact that he's defensively irresponsible. It's
Mhm.
only a few people can get away with a stance like that. Now that I'm thinking about it, like Floyd Mayweather can get away with a stance like that, having that shoulder up and having that one
Yeah.
hand down. I
Mhm.
don't. I think eventually he might get caught with it. He's right.
Exactly. Exactly. He's going to
Well,
get caught. When he fights elite competition, he's going to get caught because he does not
Hmm.
have nowhere near the level of a Floyd Mayweather skill set. And Roy
Right.
Jones Jr., the reason why he's not on that level is because what people don't understand about Roy Jones was a anomaly because Roy Jones was a balance of fundamentals and athleticism. I don't think we're going to ever see a fighter like that no time soon. His
Right.
anomaly between how he could balance out the fundamentals with his footwork is second to none. Teofimo Lopez does not have that ability. He's not special in that. He's not in that rarefied air. That's why I say his stance is a defensively irresponsible stance. I'm not
Yeah.
saying something that's not the truth because remember, I'm a truth teller. I come with what? Cold-hearted, unadulterated, and cutthroat truths. And the truth of the fact of the
Right.
matter is, what he is doing is defensively irresponsible, and
It is.
I myself am not a fan of that.
It,
So
it
that's
is.
what I'm
It
talking
is.
about.
It is. But it's open perspective because the same thing that you're saying, and you can
Mm-hmm.
damn sure go back and listen to commentary and everything. The same thing that you're saying that he's not this in Roy Jones and he's not that in Floyd Mayweather and who else you might throw in there. They
Mm,
said the same thing about these guys in their early career. And you saying that eventually he will get stopped. Eventually Roy Jones got stopped, but he was old when it finally happened. So what I'm saying is you can't just assume that's just a speculation that it will happen. You don't know that because they thought that it would happen with Roy Jones and it didn't happen until he was in his late 30s. They thought it would happen with Floyd Mayweather and it never happened. You don't know until it happens. You don't know if he's that phenomenon until he is. Right now, you're just speculating. You're just
okay,
speculating, bro, because
okay.
he has not got, hold on, because he has not got caught clean by
Mm,
anybody. Those counter shots you're talking about,
mm.
you go back and watch the fight. There wasn't anything that was gonna hurt Teofimo. See, you're saying things that you're speculating. He's going to get caught. Eventually, he will do this. But they said the same thing about the young fighter and Floyd Mayweather back then. They said the same thing
You're
about the
comparing him to
young
Floyd
fighter.
Mayweather?
No, I'm not. I'm not. Y'all listen to me. The
Yeah,
commentator
that's what
said
I'm
the
hearing. That's
same
what I'm
thing
hearing.
about
That's
the
what I'm
young
hearing.
fighters back then.
That's what I'm
And
hearing.
you cannot say that
Right.
this will happen until it happens.
Uh-huh.
He's never gotten into trouble yet. But y'all
Okay.
saying that he will get into trouble, right?
Okay,
I
okay,
mean, it's
D,
bound to
Devin
happen
Haney
in the
hasn't gotten
sport.
into trouble.
It's
D,
bound to
D.
happen in the sport. You know,
Yeah,
Floyd's been
Right,
tagged
exactly,
a
but
few times. He's been tagged a few
it didn't happen.
times.
But
exactly,
he
D,
did he lose though? He gonna get hit, but did he
No,
lose
so you're
though?
comparing
D.
him to Floyd Mayweather then,
I'm
Yeah,
not
basically.
that
I'm not comparing him to Floyd Mayweather, bro. I'm just saying listen, if the fans say that this guy's gonna get knocked out, this guy everybody look, all of these Wilder haters are saying eventually Wilder's gonna get knocked out. 41 fights, he hasn't got knocked out yet. They've been saying this about Wilder for 40, 20, 30 fights. Oh, somebody's gonna catch him and knock him out because he can't box. Because he's this. Wilder's just a one-trick pony. He's
So
gonna get
basically,
knocked
you're
out.
saying now at this point we have to test his chin and his heart
No,
because
what
that's
we're
what
saying
Wilder
is
had when he got
what I'm
tagged by
saying is
Luis Ortiz.
what I'm saying is we have to see it. That's just speculation until we see it. I'm saying Teofimo is good enough that that's not going to happen, and y'all saying
okay,
that it will happen. So
Okay.
okay,
both of us are speculating, right? That's
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
speculation.
Yeah,
That's
for
not a
sure.
well,
fact that he's going to get knocked out. That is not a
well,
fact. Y'all, how can y'all
okay,
say that he's going to get knocked out?
okay. Now let me make this point. What's not speculation is stop that with the Floyd and the Roy Jones. Stop it, man.
Whatever, bro. I'm not
Because
comparing them to Roy. You stop it.
Roy Jones, and Floyd on another planet. It's just like that comparison you do with me with Kevin Durant and Kobe, and I have to defer to that because I agree when we talk about Kobe's leagues, it's the same thing, man.
Oh,
We
now
know
you
what
agree.
Floyd is. We know what Floyd is. We know what Roy is. We don't know what Teofimo is. And by not
Exactly.
knowing
We
what he
don't.
is, but listen, not knowing what he is, what I'm saying is the truth. His stance is defensively irresponsible. There's no arguing what I said because it's the truth.
We agreed on that, bro.
The
We
truth,
So
agreed on that.
he's really
hold
We
bound to
on, hold
get
on.
agreed
caught
on that.
then, you
The
know?
truth, the
He's
truth.
bound to get caught.
I've told people this. The truth cannot be argued with. The only thing it can be is agreed with. The man's stance,
Right.
the man's stance is defensively irresponsible. And
True.
we don't know what he's going to be. And at his young age, he needs to
Hmm.
develop fundamentals. That's what he needs to do.
True.
You know,
True.
that's
True.
all I'm saying. And I'm not saying that you're
Okay.
wrong. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I get
There
it.
you
There's
go.
a bias there. That's your guy. You're gonna rock with that guy till the wheels fall off. But you gotta see what I'm saying too, man. The man,
I didn't disagree
the
with it.
man's stance is defensively irresponsible, and when he faces elite competition, he's gonna get tagged. He's gonna get embarrassed. That's just my take on it.
No, no, that's the speculation that he will get embarrassed because he can go in there and knock him out just like he's been knocking everyone else out. And what I'm saying is the boy has the skills, and
But
you
he's
think he's
calling
gonna
out
go in there.
Loma. He's calling
It's
out
just like
Loma. He's
I'm
calling
not.
out
Look,
Loma,
see, there we go. There we go. So is Devin Haney. So is Devin Haney. So is Devin Haney.
but
So
no
is
one is
Devin Haney.
clamoring. No one is clamoring for the Loma fight as much as Teofimo.
I'm just saying he's calling them out. So is Devin Haney. That just shows confidence. You're not gonna tell me. I didn't say he was ready for Loma. I said he wasn't. So I don't want to hear that he's calling out Loma, bro. What I'm saying is when he steps up to an elite fighter, not the best fighter.
Mhm.
Come on, bro. You said step up in competition. That means
Okay.
go straight to the best.
All right.
Stop that, bro.
We going
That's
to the
nonsense.
going to the
That's
next
nonsense.
topic. We're going to the next topic because Teofimo's bias is written all over him. So let's go to the next
Yeah, but Loma's not a step up, bro. That's the best
topic.
competition in the division. That's
Let's,
not a
let's,
step up. Come on, that's ridiculous.
you got your blood boiling. I see that bias is written all over you,
That's
man.
not
Let's
What
biased,
get
bro.
into
You
about
say he needs
what
to step up, and then
about
you say
what
Lomachenko.
about
That's the
him
best.
against Tank Davis then?
Right, thank you. Not Lomachenko automatically. That's not
But
a step
what do you
up, bro.
think? I think
I
Tank's
think he
countering
stopped Tank.
ability would expose someone like Teofimo
well,
Lopez.
I
Tank's
Tank is
think
probably
on
too fast,
I
Tank
think
will
and he can
flatten
counter
him. Tank
well.
will
I
flatten him.
think Teofimo stops Tank. Period.
You
I'm gonna
see,
tell both of y'all that right now. He stopped Tank. He stopped Tank.
you
Tank
see,
Tank
you see
arms are
where
too
you go.
short and Tank is too small. Listen, Teofimo's too big for 135. Tank too scared to leave 130. You know why? Because he has short arms, bro. You
That
don't
was a trap.
understand. He has
He
short
gave,
arms. He
that
don't
was
even want to leave 130. The boy
D,
should, he's heavy enough to
that was
fight at 140.
a
Come on,
trap
man.
question. That was a
Teofimo
trap.
stops Tank. He
D,
stops him.
that was a trap question. You fell for it, man.
I didn't
Because
fall for nothing. I told you long time ago he stops Tank. He
we
stops
all
him.
know that we all know that Tank is the more experienced fighter. Stop it, man.
Right.
Stop
Man,
it.
Tank is a
Okay.
drunk. He was just getting beat up on Instagram by his girl. He's a drunk. He was
Okay.
drunk on the couch,
Oh, now
bro.
why
See, why you
Teofimo's a
gotta
gym
go there?
rat.
Why you gotta go there?
Teofimo's a gym rat.
Why you
He's
gotta
a
you
go
big
there?
drunk, bro.
mad? You
Tank is
Why
big
the
you
next
gotta go
mad?
there?
Adrian Broner. Tank is the next Adrian Broner. Seriously. Floyd
Let me
doesn't
tell you
fight him.
something.
He
Let
fight
me tell
once
you
a year
something.
and he drunks and he parties. He's
Let
not
me
even
tell
in
you
the gym
something.
like he's supposed to.
I'll
Let me
give you
tell you
Teofimo
that. You
will
something.
know,
stop
he
him.
D,
does put on
D,
some
let me tell
weight,
you
Teofimo will
but
something.
stop
Let me
him.
tell you
the
something.
guy
Period.
can box though.
Period.
D, hold on. Let me tell you something. This is when you know, because this happens with me with Kevin Durant. He's doing exactly what I do with Kevin Durant. This is when you know when someone's biased to somebody, they're gonna defend them to the core. I
No.
trust me, I know that. Right now,
No.
He
I was
said
a Tank
no.
fan. I
right
gave up
now,
on Tank,
D,
bro. Because he's a
you
drunk,
don't
bro. I
realize
gave up on him.
you don't realize it, but right now, it's not even about boxing conventional wisdom. You're allowing your emotions to get the best of you right now. I don't think you're realizing that.
Why don't you tell me why Tank? Why don't you tell me boxing wise? Either one of you, right? Let's
Okay.
talk about it. Boxing. Uh, you first. I know that you, sis, you actually do research. So I want you, he knows, to tell me why, boxing wise,
Mhm.
that Tank so much will destroy Teofimo. Forget about the emotions because Tank is not mentally in the game, bro. This game is half mental. This
Mhm.
dude fight once a year. He's clearly in the club
I'm
and in
gonna.
the streets. Hold on. He's clearly in the clubs and in the streets. He's not focused, bro. So
Uh,
you tell me boxing wise, why Tank beats Teofimo? Give me
I'm
that.
I'm a credit that to you being emotional right now because
See,
you're
there
all
it
doing
goes.
it.
You bouncing around the
Hold on,
question,
D.
bro.
D.
You going back to
Hold on,
emotion.
D. D. We're
All
debating
right.
here. Remember, we're
All
debating
right.
here. So put the emotions to the side. I know you're biased
Okay.
right now. Put the emotions to the side. Okay. Listen, I'm gonna how am I gonna say this? I'm gonna give you an excuse because on one end you can't say I'm credible, and then on the other end say, "Oh well, I know you know your stuff, sis, but him." Let's stop that. Let's stop that.
No,
Okay?
I said she does
Yeah, yeah,
research. So she's gonna come with
but let's
facts, not
stop
his
that.
dad. Not
D
his dad.
D
She's gonna come with
D
facts and not his dad.
D. You're a YouTube creator. You're a professional. Act as such. Okay. I want you to act as such because right now you're acting emotional. Put your emotions to the side right now. Okay. Listen. Here's the thing, and folks need to understand that when someone's biased to somebody, they lose all sense of logic and they lose all sense of reasoning. What I said about Teofimo Lopez is the facts. You can argue it all you want, but one thing about facts, they can't be argued. It's irrefutable. I done told you that a long time ago. Teofimo Lopez, we don't know what we're getting from this guy. He's a prospect. There's a reason why they call him a contender because there's a lot there that we don't know. It's like a lottery draft pick. He's like Zion Williamson. We don't know what we're going to get from this dude yet, man. We're just scratching the surface with him. But when you sat there and made the comparison to say like Floyd Mayweather, like Roy Jones, come on, man. And then
No,
this nonsense,
there you go.
about Tank Davis, come on, man. Tank Davis is a 25-year-old fighter. Teofimo Lopez is 21. Tank Davis has already fought higher level competition, a la Pedraza. We saw what happened in that fight. So to sit here at this level and say Teofimo Lopez would beat Tank, come on, that's just ridiculous. Anyone that's watching the sport of boxing, I understand if you say my bias, because that's what you need to start it with. My bias tells me that he will beat Tank. I would respect that all day, every day. But to sit there just to say that he's going to beat Tank because of the fact that I see what I see in the film study, come on, man. Tank is the more seasoned professional. And if we got to go to what he's doing outside of boxing so that we can make our point, then that's not making a point, man. We're talking about inside the square circle, what they do. Tank is too dangerous for Teofimo Lopez. He's too dangerous for Devin Haney, and he's too dangerous for Shakur Stevenson. You rank Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson right there with Teofimo Lopez, right? So if you do
Right.
that, he's too dangerous for Devin Haney and Shakur. So that means he's too dangerous for Teofimo as well.
I don't
That's
think
the
he's too dangerous for Devin Haney. You said that.
that's the
I
fact.
didn't say that. He's
Okay,
not.
but
He's
but
not.
but but the point that I'm trying to make is there's experience plays a factor for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Tank is the more experienced fighter. He's already fought at championship level. So I'm not going to sit here and say that Teofimo Lopez, who has not fought at championship level, is going to be Tank. That's just ridiculous. Right now? Come on, man. Now, if we're talking 2 to 3 years from now, okay, we're talking a different conversation. But right now, he does not stand a chance against Tank, man. Tank's power is ridiculous. His power is unreal. You know what I'm saying? And not only is his power is unreal, and he's stronger than Teofimo Lopez,
And,
Tank also has the athleticism and the speed to match any
and,
and everything that Teofimo Lopez does.
and,
Anyone that does not see that is not watching Tank Davis. That's just the facts, man.
and,
You can say Ed
and
all you want.
wrong.
You can say Ed all
Yeah,
you want.
wrong
I'm
because
telling the truth.
I did film work on Tank, which I done told you time and time again. I did film on Tank way before I even found out about Teofimo. I was a fan of Tank.
Mm.
And when we first started fussing about this whole thing, that's why I used to say you trying to back me in a corner because you know I like Tank Davis. The reason I stopped liking Tank Davis and I stopped pulling for him because he is showing me signs of another Adrian Broner, bro. He is
I
not
would agree with you
fighting.
there, but
He is not fighting, and you have to fight. You have to stay active, bro. One fight a year is not going to do it.
Okay.
That and then with all the partying and listen, bro, listen. This is a athlete thing, bro. You cannot do all that partying and drinking and carrying on.
Mm.
Look at what happened to Jamel Charlo, bro. It's the same story, bro. You can't do this kind of stuff and then think that you're gonna listen. Tank is no more than a freaking prospect. Yeah, Pedraza is all he fought at a high level. And then I'm tired of Tank fighting smaller guys, bro. He's big enough to fight at 140, and all he's fighting, the only good guys he's fighting are coming up in weight. So you acting like Tank is what is he doing, bro? He needs to fight at 135 and 140. He's fighting little guys. He's got all this power. He's got this size, but he's fighting 130 and 126 guys. And then you
Lopez
just
only
tell
has
him,
like 13 fights though.
my
Exactly.
thing is, but
13
my
fights.
thing is this Beverly. He is 126 and 130-pound guys. Teofimo is knocking out 130-pound guys. Now y'all gonna say weight classes don't mean a reason, don't mean anything when it comes to knocking out. And just like I told he knows before, you're right there in front of the computer. Look up Tank Davis right now and look at all the daggone TKOs. It is a difference from a TKO and a
Right? I'm
KO.
actually watching a fight right now of Tank Davis.
At 135, not at 130 or 126, Teofimo Lopez is having guys spasm on the ground. He's not getting no doggone TKO at 135, which are bigger guys. Tank is TKOing smaller guys. And then you go look at the hold on. One more thing. Go look at the Pedraza fight.
I'm
And you
looking
look
at it right now.
Okay, you look at each and every one. Keep looking at that fight, sis. You look at each and every one of Teofimo's TKOs. Look at how many times Tank hit Pedraza flush in that fight before he went down. If
But you're talking
Teofimo,
about Jose Pedraza, though. Like you just
I,
said, he's probably the
hear me
only
out.
step up
Hear
in
my point.
competition that
Hear
he's
my
had.
point. Hear my point. Look how many times Tank hit Pedraza flush. If Teofimo hits him flush, as many times as Tank hit him flush, he's laying him out because he
Okay.
has guys on the ground with their eyes rolled back. It's the same. It's the same story with AJ. How he beat Dominic Brazil up and hit him with all those flush shots, but Wilder just popped him and laid him out. That's the difference, bro.
Okay.
Teofimo flatlines guys at a bigger weight than Tank, and
Okay.
Tank is
I hear you talking about his power, but nothing really about his skill that could beat
But
Tank.
since you already agreed with me earlier, even you was
Yeah,
looking at his
he's very
film and
skillful, but I'm saying
he's
I
very
think Tank's
skillful.
ring IQ and his experience would definitely, at this point
But
right
he
now
has to
in
prove it.
Lopez's career. What do you mean?
Tank, Tank's got to prove it. He's doing it with little guys. He hasn't done it with no one at 135. He's doing it with little guys. Now weight
Ring
classes
IQ
doesn't
has
mean a
nothing to
reason.
do it really with a lot of weight class. I mean, you go back in
Oh
boxing
nah.
history, people have been beating bigger fighters with ring IQ only when rounds used to go
Mm-hmm.
40 plus
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
rounds, you
Okay, now
know?
you coming into my territory because I don't even go with the weight bully thing. Now you're moving into my territory.
That's what you were just
And
talking about, though. That
no,
Tank's
I'm
weight
saying
bullying.
listen, I'm not calling him a weight bully. I'm saying he's knocking out smaller guys. Do y'all hear me? Do y'all hear me? He's
What is
knocking
that
out smaller
then?
guys.
Come on.
Okay, let me ask you this. He just says that Teofimo, that Inoue, right? He knows his sports, and you agree with him.
Mm-hmm.
Says that Inoue has to move up in weight, right, and knock out a bigger guy, right?
hmm
Didn't y'all say that? So why
Mm-hmm.
doesn't the same thing apply for Tank to prove his power? Because he's
Well,
knocking
because
out 126
power
guys.
comes from technique. If you can have the
Exactly.
Oh
same
wow.
technique when you move up in weight, that's what we're talking about. Not like
And,
Yep.
muscle.
and
You're acting like
Teofimo has that technique.
power doesn't come from your muscles. If you have big legs, then yeah, that could count. But you have to have that same kind of technique to come up
Okay.
in weight. Not
And I
necessarily
agree with that. And I agree with
right.
Right.
that, sis. But what I'm saying is, so Inoue has that technique, and so does Teofimo. And it's like y'all not
So
understanding where
Tank
I'm coming
Tank
from.
doesn't have that technique.
Teofimo can fight at 140 right now, bro.
So
He's big. He's big at 135. He can,
all right.
and that weight, that power will carry up. He
All
can
right.
fight at 140.
We would have to
All right.
see that. You know, we
We
would have to see if he
So,
can bring up
but
that
we
if he
don't
can
have to
use the
see it
same
from Tank
technique.
though. But we
sis,
don't have to see it from
sis,
Tank though, because I see the
Well, we're talking
technique.
about
sis, D,
experience wise.
Oh
D,
wow.
sis.
Okay, okay,
We gonna
okay.
we're gonna go into
I'm
the next
telling y'all
topic.
that
We're gonna go into the next
Yeah,
Teofimo
topic.
has
okay.
those
Okay.
We're
Yeah,
gonna
skills.
go
we
into the
Okay,
should.
next
he
topic.
has
We're
those
gonna go to
skills.
the next topic because we're gonna be here all day. The man's biased when it comes to Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah,
You can't use logic with him with Teofimo.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So let's next topic, and last topic. All right. Let's talk about because I want to know her take on it. I kind of know some of your take on it, D. But I'm gonna lean more so. I'm gonna give Beverly most of the floor with this one. Canelo Alvarez. What's your take on Canelo Alvarez? What do you feel he needs to do before his career is over for you to determine that in your mind you look at him as the guy if you haven't already looked at him as such? So I'm gonna give the floor to Beverly on this one.
I would say really I don't have much against Canelo. I don't like the fact that you know, if he keeps fighting guys like Rocky Fielding, then that would kind of bump him down on my pound for pound list in regards to legacy. But you can't deny that he does have a pretty good resume compared to a lot of these guys out here. But like if he can fight like the Danny Jacobs fight, that was a good fight to take. You know, if he can keep fighting competition on that level and win, then I'd be thoroughly impressed. You know, but I don't have like much hate against Canelo at all. But if he's going to keep fighting like nobodies or guys who are just levels and levels below him, then I would think, you know, it's not really going to solidify his legacy, you know?
Mm, okay. What about you, D?
I, I, I would like to know, like in his past, few fights outside of Rocky Fielding, who are these guys? Because I mean, the GGG fight everybody was clamoring for because they didn't think Canelo would be able to deal with it. So he fights him
Mm-hmm.
twice. He fought Fielding really only to get a belt in another weight class, and Phil didn't have the belt. But then after he takes that low level fight, he fights the Miracle Man Jacobs.
Mm,
So my thing is that it's not like he's fighting a lot of low level guys fight after fight after fight. Look at his last 4 or 5 fights; they're not bums. And now he's talking about fighting either Andre, Jamal Charlo, or GGG next. So, like, if we had 4 or 5 Rocky Fieldings, you know what I'm saying, in his last 10 fights, I would go along with that. But that's not what we have with Canelo right now.
mm.
Yeah, you got a good point there.
Yeah, you
Good
got a
point.
good point there, but I look at it like this. Uh, D know where I stand with this, and sis, you gonna know where I stand with this. And I think me and D we were on the same page yesterday. I need him to fight Jamal Charlo. Stop it,
I was
man.
just thinking that.
That's what I need. For me to
Right.
sit there and say that Canelo's full boxing career is legit for me, I need this fiasco with Jamal Charlo being the mandatory for
Pull
so
your
many
car up here.
years stop and for him to fight Jamal Charlo. That's what I need. I need that fight to happen. And then based on how Canelo performs in that fight, it will speak volumes to me for me to sit there. So I'm holding out and I'm reserving judgment on him until after that fight because I know Jamal Charlo will be a puzzle, be a very hard puzzle for him to figure out.
No, I
Hmm.
thought someone was doing it.
Yeah, I can agree with
Yeah,
that too. You know, as
yeah,
long
me
as
too.
he's not fighting more of these Rocky Fieldings, then yeah, well, then he'd be pretty solid in the history books, if you ask me.
Yeah, yeah. We agreed
But
on that
let's see if
yesterday.
he takes the
Anyway,
fight, though.
he
If he
need to
doesn't
fight
take the fight
Charlo.
with Jamal, yeah, if he doesn't take the Charlo fight, then I would say he's a punk. At
Exactly.
that point,
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's the same thing. Like, I said
Exactly.
the same thing about Spence. Like, and I'm a Spence fan. The same way I'm a Canelo fan.
Hmm.
If Spence, does what he say, and I'm all for Spence. I say all of these haters need to shut up. Spence gonna do
Hmm.
what he say, and then he gonna go take Crawford's belt too. So they just need to shut their mouth.
Hmm.
But again, I'm a realist. So if Spence goes and beat up Crawford and beat up Pac or Thurman, whichever one wins, and then he moves up or something happens and he doesn't fight Crawford, bro, I'm gonna hold him accountable the same way. And I don't care what anybody say. So it's the
Hmm.
same thing. I'm gonna do the same thing with Canelo because I'm a realist. I don't care if I'm a fan. If he doesn't fight Charlo, I don't care what fight Andre, go 4 belt undisputed, all of that. That's great. You still need to fight Charlo.
Hmm.
I'm still gonna hold it. I'm still as a fan, and people go like, well, how could you hold that against him because he's 4 belt undisputed and all of this? No, I'm not trying to hear that. This is a man that you need to fight. You need to put this to bed. You need to put this story to bed. You have to
Hmm.
fight him. And so
Hmm.
I'm gonna hold him accountable if he doesn't fight Charlo. We gotta have that fight.
Exactly.
right?
But I think we're all on the same page. So D, I'm gonna let you start off, and then I'm gonna go in the middle, and then sis, I'm gonna let you go on the back end. But D, let everyone know where they can follow you at. You know what I'm saying, and let everyone know what's up with you, D.
All right. First off, y'all can catch me right here with my man. He knows his sports every Saturday and Sunday. We do a boxing segment on Saturday, a basketball segment on Sunday. It's always a lot of fun. But every day you can catch me on Speak Your Mind Sports Talk. I'm the host of that show there. Me and a partner of mine, we cranked up a channel. And our channel is about you guys, man. So y'all come check us out because you guys decide the stance that we're gonna take. And that's just what it is. A lot of fun. It's a good competition. Bring facts,
Mm.
sis.
And
I
then
think
me,
you need to check it out because you got the facts. Bring those facts and
For
exactly.
check out
sure, for
Beverly
sure.
Rose. Beverly Rose.
And me,
Thank you.
I'm he knows his sport. You know what I'm saying. You guys know me to just like dialogue and conversation. I just like talking with different personalities. To be honest with you, I'm happy, and I hope it's gonna be a long lasting collaboration with Sis Beverly Rose. I feel like this first show was very energetic, magnetic. And I felt like she brought that heat and that fire. I don't know.
Yeah,
I might have to give her my slogan because she came with it today, boy. I have to
yeah,
give it.
buddy. She the
I have to
truth.
give it to her.
Now she the truth.
Thank
I could
you.
call her the truth. She the truth.
Yeah,
I can
Thank
call
you.
her the
Thank
truth.
you.
They don't want
I've been
none.
I'll take that one. But I'll tell you this much. I'll tell you this much. You guys could check me on my channel. He knows his sport. As you guys know me, I'm bringing that heat and that fire. I come with the punchlines, but then I also try to talk about different topics. Basketball, boxing, health. I'm all about just empowerment and betterment of people, and just having sports conversations. So y'all check my channel out. Make sure y'all hit that subscription, the like, the comment, and the shares. And on to you, Beverly Rose. I'm saving the best for
Uh,
last.
Thanks. Well, first I want to say thank you for having me on your shows. Definitely, like you said, magnetic, energetic. I think we all have pretty good chemistry, and I'm definitely looking forward to having this show every Sunday. Same time, right? Same time.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, all we gotta do now is figure out a name for it, a catchy name, and from there, I think we'll have something pretty big going on here. It's very unique. We're focusing mainly on analyzing fights and stuff. Then maybe talk a little bit about the politics, but not so much. And that's why I like this channel a lot because you focus mainly on the sweet science. But you can
Appreciate
follow me
that.
here on YouTube at Beverly Rose Boxing Entertainment. You can follow me on Instagram at Beverly Rose LDBC, and you can follow me on Twitter as well at Bev Rose Boxing. And that's about all my platforms that I'm on right now.
Awesome.
Awesome. That's what's up. So I'm looking forward to checking you guys out next week.
Right.
For sure.
Same
Okay.
time, 12:30 my time, Alaska time. That would be what 1:30 your time in
Mhm.
California. And D, I believe you're on the East Coast, so that'd be what about 5:30 your time?
What time you say in Alaska?
Alaska 12:30.
Yeah,
That'd
about
be
four
what
thirty. That's about 4:30
4:30
over
your
here.
time. Okay, that's
Yeah,
what's up.
and just to let everybody know, I'm just a special guest on this show. This is going to be He Knows and Miss Beverly here. So every now and
Mhm.
then I might be stopping in to holler at these guys, but this is going to be their thing, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna be in the chat a lot of times with you guys, giving them a hard time. Y'all not always gonna see me on the show.
Yeah, there you go. Well,
Right, right.
Beverly, it was great. I really appreciate you, showing up. Thank you for bringing your
Thank you.
magnetic and energetic presence. And like I said, I hope we can continue to do this and start
Mhm.
something that's revolutionary on YouTube, the bro and sis collaboration, because I think it's gonna be something that's big.
It is
Right.
it's gonna be
Yeah.
great,
Same.
man.
All
Great
right.
having you, Beverly.
All right. Salute to
Looking
With
everyone in
that
forward
the
to
being
chat
seeing you in the
said,
too.
future.
peace out, folks.
Peace.
Alrighty.